Hi everyone. Welcome to our After the Fire Game of Thrones game that we play on Thursdays. Every Thursday with these lovely people. There are two of them are elsewhere, obviously. But we have four fantastic human beings joining me tonight to play in this, the third episode of Season 3, The Prince's Pass. Let's go around, have a little chat to these beautiful faces. Speaking of beautiful faces, it's Jonathan Fry! You all didn't know who I was going to talk to, though, did you?
I needed that, by the way. Thank you.
Dude, obviously.
No,
Of course. How's it going?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a fun week, a busy week as always, but lots of fun stuff going on. And I'm excited to get to play Red Rob again and get to play with this group of people. We are all together. It's rare in this campaign that like four of us are going to be going in the same direction at the same time. So that's kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just pumped to be here. I'm really excited.
Cool. Awesome. Nice and vague, but hopefully you can share a bit more. How's your Dark Sun game going on the Tuesdays? I think it is.
Yeah. So we just had our third session this past Tuesday. It's a new Dark Sun 5th edition D&D campaign that I'm running called Rise of the Veiled Alliance.
Nice.
And it's very, it's a little bit Game of Thrones. There's a lot of politics involved. A couple of the players' characters are politicians. One of them's up for re-election, but like the government's corrupt because it's Dark Sun. So it exists in like the only place in the entire world that's a democracy. And
wow.
But it's the worst kind of democracy, maybe like some democracies that exist in our world. So that's what's going on there. We had our third session on Tuesday, and I think it was my favorite so far. It was really, really fun, so I'm enjoying that.
Nice. It sounds like a big contrast to our Dark Sun game, which is
like wilderness.
We got out in the mountains and just doing cool stuff with little ratlings and helping them out. Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much. And we have Charlie from Encounter Roleplay. Hello, Charlie.
Hello. I'm very excited because we're here and we're back and there are four of us together and that's never happened except for that one time and it went really bad and one of us died. But I think we'll be okay this time.
Don't worry about that.
We'll be all right this time. I've had a long week, but like this is my home game, as it were.
Yeah.
And it's super fun playing this game now that we're doing the Crown Lands on Monday, which is like the sister campaign, and seeing how two disastrous families kind of tread their own little paths through the world and little nods to people that we share know, and that's super fun.
I feel like we need to talk about Tyrosh at some point. We need a little chat.
Do not siege Tyrosh. I'm sieging Tyrosh.
No, just like what's going on, because that's fun, and the fleet's in Ironwood right now. So what? So yeah, we just need to figure some shit out. But I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, we do need to have a conversation about that. But that's kind of the fun thing is like half the time when I'm playing Crown Lands with you all, I feel like I'm a player and I forget I'm the GM and I'm there going, no. In the background, I'm like, oh wait, no, you can't react. You've got to pretend like it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So they played just roll a 12. They rolled disastrously, so I'm hoping today we roll well. I'm hoping like we get the flip, the inverted luck, and that my foreseeing of Marzia falling off the horse doesn't happen, because we can't have two heads of houses down in like 2 weeks.
She's falling off.
We should take a carriage. Let's take a carriage.
No. Veto.
Just two of the Hollow Hearts just carrying you in a little one of those little lists. Yeah. Little...
Wrap her in quilts, and fucking bubble wrap, and just Amazon Prime the shit.
Beautiful. All right. Well, let's wheel
Westeros
around.
Prime.
Yeah. Westeros Prime. Let's wheel around to Tom. How you doing, Tom?
I'm okay, thank you. I'm not too bad.
Good.
Like everyone else, I'm really excited to be here and see how this completely lovely jaunt into Dawn and other places will go. I mean, I've walked around, Westeros. It wasn't that bad.
Easy peasy, mate.
It was easy peasy. We can do this easy.
Easy
Blindfolded.
peasy. With one eye.
I tell you what, I'm hoping it's similar to that episode because it was awesome. It was such a good episode. I loved it.
Who's that dude that does all the tourist documentaries? One of the Monty Python lot.
Michael Palin.
Yeah, are you like our Michael Palin? Like, I've been around. It's fine. Everyone's lovely wherever
Tom,
we go.
you have a little Michael Palin energy.
Do I?
Just a smidge, yeah.
Okay, I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah,
sure.
I wish I could, but
So last time I saw you online, you were a nan.
Yes.
Under the sea.
Yes. That's right. Yeah, that is very Monty Python-esque, isn't it? Yeah. You could kind of see Michael Palin dressed up because they do it. They did it quite often, didn't they?
And you have the Monty Python old lady voice.
I do. So yeah. Okay, so I'll be the Michael Palin.
Okay. All right. Well, so what I was alluding to was where is that on, and how long is it on for, and who is it with?
Oh right. See, I'm not that switched on because I'm very tired. But anyway, yeah. So I play. That would have been a good segue if I was on. So Tales of the Grim tomorrow at 6 p.m. GMT. Yes, I play a 72-year-old splicer woman who's down in BioShock. We're using the Call of Cthulhu system, and it's really great fun. It really is a lot of fun. Because when you use some plasmids, you lose sanity. So you can't just because your mind will just go pop, which kind of what happens in BioShock anyway. But I just got something that enables me just to go nuts. I got a plasmid that's called Bloodlust, which enables me whenever I use a plasmid, I regain sanity and health. So I'm just gonna everywhere, fire everywhere. It's great. It's gonna be amazing.
I am low key a little jelly because BioShock is my favorite video game of all time.
It's kind of it's like a perfect horror kind of setting. It's a really good place for a setting, and in using the Call of Cthulhu system, it fits surprisingly well.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe not killing as many people as you do in BioShock, but the general atmosphere really fits in well.
Yeah, because I feel like you could lean into the action of the video game and try and emulate it that way, or you could lean into the themes, and I think that leans into Call of Cthulhu really well.
Yeah, and Greg's done, and like Greg, he's a massive fan of BioShock, so he's done it justice. He knows how to weave it all.
Yeah,
together.
he was cooking on gas when I was watching. Yeah, that was so cool. Cool. I hope I catch some more episodes when I'm writing and stuff. Keeps me entertained in the background.
Well, tomorrow is the finale. So,
I'll catch the VOD, I'm sure, over the weekend.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Cool. Like I say, a bit jelly. Speaking of jelly, see, Charlie's infected us with the bad segue.
My segues are great.
Do you like jelly, Jason?
Not particularly, no. It's just one of those things that I can't get over the texture of the thing, and it purports to have different tastes. It purports to have different tastes and flavors, and it never does to my mind.
I can't eat jelly. I'm
yeah, no.
Same thing with
oysters with
jelly jello. But I have a question for you, Jason. Do you like your nuts smooth or crunchy?
That's a personal question.
Highly personal question on stream. But if I had to choose one, crunchy, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It provides I'm done. I'm done.
Try to frame.
No comment.
I was curious.
I plead the fifth.
You said it was a texture thing, so I was curious, what textures you do like.
That's fair. That's
very
fair.
fair.
We played Witcher on Tuesday, though. How did that go?
Are you stealing my bit?
Damn, you may as well just take a seat back.
Yeah, go on, good.
No, it went marvelously well, I think. As was intoned, I am Jason, @Jason Please on Twitter. I play the Witcher campaign on alternating Tuesdays over on Susanna Grace's channel, friend of the channel and actual literal social media manager.
Did you just go friend of the channel?
No. I said friend of the channel as a point of punctuation. God, okay.
I saw this happen.
So I played this wonderful Witcher game that you should all definitely watch. The VODs eventually get up on YouTube, but they're on Twitch right now. So if you have the compulsion, if you have the time, please go over to Susanna Grace's channel, follow her, all that good stuff. Outside of that, I'm a creator with the Nerdsmith Network. Got some lovely, lovely projects behind the scenes at the moment, but hopefully getting to eyeballs very soon. As it stands, though, I'm playing Briar and happy to be here. So
well saved. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what we call being professional.
Well, Susie, friend of the channel, marketing manager, would probably grill me alive tomorrow if I did not say with very excited tones that the Spy Game late pledges are now open. The pledge manager is live. We are collecting your monies if you would like to give them to us. If you came to us late... not late to the pie, but like if you came to us after the Kickstarter campaign and you liked what you saw and you checked out the quick start and you wanted to get involved, now is the time. It's going to be open for a while now. As we finish off development, I'm busy writing when I'm not busy managing other RPGs at Modiphius, and so we've got a bit to get through, but we're still on track. So do head over there. Thank you, Susie, for the link. Head over to the link. We'll make sure that we post it in the YouTubes as well and all of that good stuff. Check out the Twitters as well. That's all down below me right at the bottom of the screen. You can go to blackcatsgaming.com or you can follow Black Cats on Twitter. I don't think we have an Instagram yet. I don't know. And then I think it's Black Cats Gaming on Facebook as well. Awesome. All right. Well, let's start off tonight then. So tonight might work a little differently. I don't, because there are 4 of you, and I was thinking like I really like to do point of view openings, and I like to do point of view scenes. But the thing is, everyone's just together right now. So we could start, say, like Marzia, but then frame like kind of what's been going on and how we've kind of reached where we are. So I don't have, beautifully, eloquently written introductions to the scenes or anything, but the 4 of you and 15 or so more people from the house, predominantly from the Hollow Hearts, who are the guard, the honor guard, basically, of the house, have left the safety of the keep of Fox Hollow and have journeyed southeast towards Dawn and towards an expanse of land known as the Prince's Pass. This is the easiest way you are going to get to Ironwood from your location. As you are going to head down the Prince's Pass, what you would do is you would be aiming for Skyreach. Just double check that because there are a couple of places. Yes, Skyreach, the seat of House Fowler. As they are nestled in the side of the Red Mountains to the east, the castle literally built up again from the rock, is the source of the river that flows down towards the Sea of Dawn, into the Sea of Dawn, and then up to House Ironwood itself. You could follow the stream, you could charter a boat, you could do all sorts of stuff to get there eventually, but I would like to spend a bit of time traveling on the road. So the journey across what is essentially that kind of larger mountain, what is it? The kind of not the ring of mountains, but like the stretch of mountains, is just to the east of you. And it's that you need to find some trails and some passes to get through, up and around, over. And then beyond that, directly is the Prince's Pass. The Prince's Pass is actually quite an expansive piece of land. It's not like this like one little valley or this one canyon that you have to kind of navigate. That's more the Bone Way. This is actually several leagues across. And so by the time that you journey down through the mountains just to the east of the house, you descend down that mountainside and then find a fairly flat piece of land. Off to the east, far off into the distance, you can just start to make out the other side of the Red Mountains on the pass. But the journey here has going to have been at least a few days, if not a week's worth of time, just to try and find the little trails and little passageways through the Red Mountains themselves. Now, the Hollow Hearts aren't exactly the most survival-oriented unit from the house. The scouts will have been fairly good at this, the couriers themselves, as they're known. But I think, Marzia, you were more about having a guard around you and relying maybe more on the knights that are accompanying you, Rob and Alfred.
I think especially when Alfred agreed to accompany her and set that kind of as his agenda, she became more certain of taking the Hollow Hearts because Alfred knows the mountains better than she does for certain. And Briar as well, to have the best of her knowledge, grew up around here or is fairly local. So that would get us a good start out into the wilderness. And from there, she's just hoping we can make it. In her head, I think she imagines there's just a road. We just gotta get to the road and then we'll just follow the road and it'll be fine.
So it's unfortunate that you've reached the pass itself and actually journeyed a few leagues east. So you're kind of in the middle of the pass itself now, and the landscape and the journey has told you as a group that that's clearly where you are. It wasn't very difficult at all, as I described. It's only one ridge, like one mountain kind of thing that you have to get through or get over, and then you're on the other side. So it's fairly obvious where you are. So I'm not going to make any survival checks at this point for it to orientate yourselves. But it's unfortunate that as you make your camp for the night, finally, you don't find a road. A lot of this is scrubland, very arid. But there are pockets of vegetation, little pockets of maybe tiny oases or something of that like that you can actually stop and camp at. And this is where you find yourselves on that night of this night in the Prince's Pass. Now, preempting this a little bit, I would like people to make tests for me, everybody, please. So, because we are in the height, well, not quite the height, but we are getting up to the heights of summer now.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dawn, the Red Mountains, and especially the Prince's Pass as somewhat of a sun trap is baking with heat. You've carried extra water skins as best you can, and you've I reckon Alfred's made sure that they've got supplies as good as they can for this journey. But it's obviously it's starting to run out now, and you need to find things. You need to stop merchants on the way, or you need to, like this tonight, find a little oasis, maybe make sure the water's okay, boil up a bit, get it back into the water skins and stuff. So you spent the days walking in this heat and this piercing sunlight. I would like everyone to make me a difficulty 6 endurance resilience test to avoid dehydration.
That's a 16 with a critical for me.
Okay. You are going to reduce this result by your armor penalty, if any.
Then that'll be a 13 then. Excuse me.
Cool. So we are all good there. So Don, I just need yours as well. Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll for the Hollow Hearts? I think I have the stats.
Sure, yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. Let me open up that sheet. Their armor penalty is -3.
Because they're quite well armored, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like for Briar and his new Brigandine, like Brigandine is like, it's normally like a quilted vest over metal and armor. So probably by like the second or third day, like that's gone, and he's just trying to keep cool somehow. Okay.
They are struggling. They're at a 5, Sam.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, is it armor penalty 3 or 2?
-3 for the Hollow Hearts.
Dang it.
Yeah. So they are struggling. And they take extra water. They slow the pace down slightly as well because of it. But you can't exactly leave them behind at this point of the journey.
Briar is going to attach himself actually to the Hollow Hearts, like mechanically, like attach. And I guess we can flavor that as to him like actually going around like swatting people, like take off your helmet, you idiot, you're in the sun, like going around and saying try and do these things, because he's noticing we've got a lot of people and they're not well versed in this sort of travel.
Okay. Charlie, I tell you what, can you roll another d6 for me, and we'll treat it as a bonus dice for that test.
Yeah.
So if they get a 4 or more, then they replace the 3 that's there.
They roll exactly an 8.
Yeah.
So it's a bonus dice, I see.
Yeah. So it is tough going for them, for sure. Okay. So I mean, because Charlie took the piss a little bit a couple of weeks ago out of me about we get to use some of the like extreme heat rules and the sunburn rules. Here they are. If you want, so Charlie, if you want the Hollow Hearts to not take an injury, so any test that they do will have a -1 to the result, they can take a level of sunburn instead. If they take a level of sunburn, which they can here, they will temporarily take -1 dice on all awareness tests.
I think we will do that, and we'll kind of frame it as these are dudes that have been stuck mostly indoors. So it's like the classic English thing of going out and being like, this is great, and then just slowly getting
just,
more
like,
and more
really
red
pink.
throughout the day. Very pink.
Like by this evening, they've all got their armor off. Like a few of them have got their armor off. Obviously, we've got 4 or 5 stood guard just around the little camp that you've made up. And I can imagine they've got these really obvious little circular tan lines.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe Alfred has a little bit more of the like weathered skin. Like my granddad was like this. Like he just would never put anything on, and would, because he used to be like a labourer and a farmer as well. He just used to there was this like farmer's tan almost year round. Like, so maybe I think he's got like a bit of that colour, I think, about him. I don't know about Rob necessarily or Briar. But that fits Alfred with like how he grew up in the area and in the Red Mountains, and was had a more rural life than Fox Hollow itself.
I think for Briar it would kind of manifest as that, but he would also at least have a little bit of sense and like take a scarf and drape it over his head during the high noon hours of the day, because come on guys, make your own shade if you can't find it. Like yeah, there's just that little bit of, I guess, experience versus inexperience that's showing its ugly head.
And Rob's been a part of, before he was a knight briefly, he was a member of the Devoted, so he is kind of like a scout type. Yes. And so he's got his armor, which is just like, it's a leather armor that's studded with ringmail, with rings. But that's over top of that is a layer, like a loose-fitting tunic, loose-fitting, like probably Dornish-style pants. He's got a cloak on with a hood, so he keeps that hood up over his face to kind of protect his skin and his face from the sun as they travel.
Cool. So as you've made camp here this evening, by a small cluster of trees, this little oasis, what are you doing, each of you? What's Marzia doing with I forget which baby you brought. It's not Wheeland. Bryn, that's the one. There we go. What are you and Bryn doing tonight?
So I think she's probably laid out Bryn on the clean side of her cloak and is just letting the baby kind of stretch out because he was swaddled pretty close for the ride. And I think Marzia kind of actually enjoyed being out of the house. She likes being out and doing things, and the last 9 months at Fox Hollow have been less than fun for her.
I think her slipping into Salastria's body has been her escape for that now. There have been some mountain passes, some views that have triggered memories for her these last couple of days. And I like to think that with the skin changing, it's still like there's a little bit of like a movie filter on it, or there's something. Whereas here she has, it's not alive in the same way. She hasn't got the smells. She hasn't got the taste of things on the air. But the kind of technicolor of the vision is much better. But I don't want to say how she feels about it, but like it is more present to you now. It's like maybe like it's having like gone on Google Street View and like VR, and you're like, oh wow, this feels like I'm here, and then you're like actually there, and it's like all the senses are hitting you.
And I imagine she's taking the time to like properly brush down her horse while the baby's kind of stretching out, just keeping an ear, because Bryn is a whiny baby. But she knows Braith is around, and I think she'd be just double checking the medical supplies, and then her attention would turn to Rob once like horse is done, baby's sorted. Let's go and check on Rob, because Rob was not in the best of ways when he came back to Fox Hollow, and then we nearly immediately left, and it's a dangerous thing to do.
Rob, what is your business as you're kind of setting up your little part of the camp here tonight?
Yeah, so I think Rob's probably been quiet and hooded for the first day of travel. It's been one day, right? Or has it been a couple of days now?
It's been a few. I'd say about 3 days.
Okay,
a
few days.
Yeah.
I think that he would increasingly have looked better over each subsequent day. He's been turning in during camp, like not staying up and drinking if any of the men are drinking, having brief conversations with people, but he's been doing what he can to rest, and I think he's looking better at this point. So maybe on the third day then, or whatever day this is, he looks more well rested than he has previously, and he'd probably when they're setting up camp, are they on horseback or foot?
Yeah, you're all on horseback, and I reckon you will have gotten probably a large tent between you. Okay. And either be setting up in little corners, or having probably set up proper camp maybe the first day. On the second night, there is actually you stop somewhere that's like maybe actually in the midst of the mountains. There isn't as much space to be able to do it, so people slept under the sky that night. But then tonight you've got an opportunity now, and it's a perfect little location to be able to set up a tent, set up a proper camp, as it were, and then have guards rotate out and sleep and rest and go have watch. But the 4 of you at the very least have actually got like a permanent spot somewhere.
Okay, so I think he would take the time to gather some of the water from the oasis and bring it in a tin to the horse. He would set it down in front of the horse. He would take off his sword belt. He has like a long sword on his sword belt, and he would strap that to the barding of the horse. And I think like he does it very carefully, because this horse is skittish. And so he doesn't make any sudden movements. But as he sort of pulls back his hood, not wearing a helm, he's got that long red hair and the newly grown red beard. He does have another belt on that has like a pair of daggers sheathed to it. He keeps that on for now, and I think he's just sort of getting settled in when Marzia would find him. Oh, that's a good question. Is Rob on the destrier, the black destrier? Did they find the destrier, or is it gone?
Yeah, I'll let you take it. The destrier
that makes him even more uncomfortable.
It's great. The destrier has not been the best mountain horse, and certainly now, actually in the past, the bits where there have been sand dunes in amongst the kind of arid rock. Susie saying it's Rulor's cousin. That it's been tough underfoot. And the Dornish are known for their sand steeds, and this really would be the where they would excel. So the various whatever the coursers and the destriers, maybe even a pony for Marzia, they're not traversing the best.
Yeah. And I think he would probably hang in the back of the group while they travel too, since he knows this is a finicky horse he would know that this is not the right beast for this location. So he could fall a little bit behind and just sort of keep an eye out to make sure that, like, nobody's been following them as they travel. I think he would be like the rear lookout.
Sure.
But right now he would have just kind of tidied up his stuff, gotten some water for the horse, and hooked his sword belt onto the barding of the horse.
And I think the reason we're on inappropriate mounts is because we left in such a hurry. It was literally whatever's in the stables is what we're taking, and the black destrier was Rob's horse, so that's what Rob ended up on.
I love it. Cool. So yeah, that's Marzia. That is how she finds Rob.
I think she kind of pats the horse on the way past, kind of maybe like up on the shoulder somewhere. And then she'll turn and look at Rob. And how are you feeling after the travel?
Oh, I'm fine, Lady Marzia. I'm feeling better. Thank you.
Let me be the judge of that. Let's look at your bruises.
Of course. Do you want me to everything off, or how do you want to?
Just the bad ones on your arms for now. She kind of glances, knowing that there is no privacy here, and she has to keep this very appropriate. Whereas if this was at the Foxhole, she'd be like, "Shut off! We gotta check everything."
I think he'd take off his gambeson and everything he needs to, basically, to allow her to check him out.
Sam, can I make a diagnose roll to see if there is an actual treatable injury that Marzia can tend to, or if this is just one of those we're gonna just have to let it do its thing?
Yeah, for sure. So roll me healing diagnosis.
20.
Oof. Okay. So you check Rob over. And let me just check what I had written down again. Sorry.
Okay.
You have things written down.
I did. Sorry.
Feel the fear.
Yeah. Yeah, as Rob pulls up sleeves and takes off gambesons and bits and bobs, you see those like bruises on his. You see bruises on his wrist as you're like rubbing your hand along them. He flinches slightly at that. As like what do you what would you expect to see bruise wise from? I mean, I guess like a couple of weeks of age.
I think she would be looking to make sure they seem to be like fading and like coloring through the pattern the bruises go through, where they go, black, purple, and then into green, yellow, and then away again. And making sure there isn't kind of any show of maybe like an infection in the blood underneath, which would kind of change how the bruise forms, or if it's any, extended swelling that hasn't gone down in that time.
Yeah. So yeah, there is definitely coloration, and it's going from that green into that kind of slightly putrid yellow. There. But as you feel around, it doesn't feel necessarily as tender as you might expect, because there's the degrees of success. What else besides the bruises there on the wrists are you checking?
I think as he's kind of taking off his gambeson, she'd be watching his movement to see if there's any like strange like he's avoiding moving things, or there's any difficulty in moving his arms, or like when he moves his ribs, maybe check the ribs all look uniform. It's kind of, on the fly, just trying to read as much as she can without prodding him too hard.
Yeah. And the ribs all look fine from just the movements he makes. Even a very quick count that you can get from him taking off bits of armor. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of lasting or permanent injury upon his person. And mechanically speaking, he doesn't need to roll for any injuries or wounds at all.
Well, everything appears to be settling. You must rest. At least you're not burnt. And she kind of looks around at the pink, unhappy faces, I imagine, of other people in the camp.
Yeah, a few of them are like splashing their faces and neck with water, just trying to get some relief. And there's quite a lot of water going down people's throats as well as they try and take on water and stuff like that.
Rob sort of follows her gaze to the Hollow Hearts, the soldiers who look miserable, I'm sure, and leans in a little bit closer and he says, "There's still a long way to go to Ironwood, Lady Marzia. Are you sure they're cut out for this? They could still go back."
We need someone with us.
I don't know that the Hollow Hearts are going to do anything to protect us if we go to Ironwood and they decide that whatever they want to do to us, they're going to do to us.
Why do you think they'd want to do something to us?
I don't know, my lady. It's just that man that I saw when I was in Highgarden, beneath Highgarden. He had ironwood armor, just like their knights.
You're right. You said that. And they would have told everyone what you'd said, because we told them we didn't know where Marzia was. If the Ironwoods are involved... And I think she glances to Alfred, who's kind of her second in command in her head, and see if she can catch his eye to kind of call him over without having to actively wave him over.
Tom, what's Alfred doing as the camp is set up for the night and the Hollow Hearts are relaxing a little bit, taking on water, that kind of thing?
Alfred is probably tending to his bow, making sure the bowstring is still, in good shape. The actual wood is in good shape because of all the heat, so he wants to ensure that everything is fine. So he's probably just sat there, kind of gently.
Is it your new fancy bow?
Tending. It's my new fancy bow. Very fancy bow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. You're quite you can catch each other's gaze at some point.
I mean, Alfred's kind of like always kind of got one eye on on Marzia because it's his job, basically. He's always wants to know where she is, and particularly out in the wild like this, he's kind of very constant. So
Alfred looks like he's like fiddling with his blow, but Marzia realizes he's not actually touching anything anymore, and he's just kind of like looking at her with one eye, like
really not subtle about it. He's really not subtle about it.
I'm thinking that Briar would probably be like around the camp, like making sure everybody's got the correct rations. Extra rations go to the people who aren't drinking enough, etc.
You're like taking on that role, that like
because it's
quartermastery kind of role.
Yeah, even if Alfred hasn't assigned it to him, but every now and then I just imagine him like looking to Alfred like, come the fuck on, man. Just slight disappointment as he's going around taking that quartermaster role.
Oof. We got a donation thingy. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, Jason as well. Feel free. You can catch these people's gaze.
I think it's kind of a daisy chain effect. Like as soon as he steps out of the tent, he sees Alfred going towards the stable. So it's like, okay, just sort of mosey on over.
For sure.
Just to nose at what's happening.
Hey, he's already wrapped everything up, and I assume that there's probably like another person who's sort of like equitable. I guess I wouldn't know who personally, but like, yeah. So
you are the same rank as every other man here. Good job.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm doing my best, adapting to a new system. Mm-hmm.
Cool. What would you guys like to do?
So Alfred will he will put his bow down, rest it in kind of like where his stuff is, and head on over to Marzia and Rob. You need me, my lady.
Rob is concerned about the Ironwoods, and I hadn't considered it before, but if one of them were there at Highgarden, it's maybe more dangerous than I thought. All of this.
Are you considering turning back?
No. I think perhaps we need to find some friends. But I'm reticent to delay going to Ironwood. Going to Marzia. I've had to wait. She has had nothing from us.
And Alfred will look to Rob. You had an idea, Rob?
Oh, I don't know if it's an idea. I just don't think all of the men here are cut out for mountain travel. I don't want to see any of them die. And if we get there and we need protection because the Ironwoods mean to do us harm, no offense, Lady Marzia or Alfred, but I don't think any of these men are going to be able to do much to help us.
If anything, it'll just delay them getting to you, my lady. If that.
I didn't even bring them with protection in mind. It's just, that's how nobles travel, with people.
There's almost outside of the tent an audible like church giggle that's like
I don't mean any offense, my lady, but nobles travel however they need to, right? Whatever's best.
You'd have me send them back.
I think we send them back now, they'll all live. I don't know if that's the case if they keep going.
We'll arrive at Ironwood, just the 3 of us. 4 with the baby. 5 with Braith.
No, my lady, we will. The Hollow Hearts will go where you go.
There is someone we should seek, maybe before Marzia, if he does know. I made an agreement when His Grace was at the house. As soon as I knew, he would know. Getting Marzia won't matter if she's still guilty. Whether we're fighting Ironwoods for her or make her. Every problem is always more complicated. Perhaps the Hollow Hearts aren't good in the mountains, but maybe if I take them to Maker and you go to Ironwood and you can see how Myria is, see if there is a threat, and I don't know. And she starts pacing. Very familiar Marzia pace begins.
Alfred's going to turn to Rob and look at him and then look back.
Rob will meet Alfred's gaze and then look around for, I think he's just decided that he's giving up drinking. Is there anything to drink besides water? Do we bring anything with us?
Alfred wouldn't have. No.
I have a solution. So, at the mention of Makar's name, Briar would sort of go pale, like if anybody were watching him while he was kind of moseying around the front door talking here and there.
As you kind of, I think there's also body language. You like stop, and there's that kind of like pale, like drawing back. And there's a guy like rubbing his neck and kind of getting a bit of water and rubbing on his neck again. And he kind of looks up at you and he's like, "What?"
No need of concern. Be careful with that, though. Waste too much on your neck, you won't have enough for your throat. Don't have enough for your throat, you fall off your horse. Fall off your horse, well, I'm sure you know what comes next. He will go back to the stable, and I'm assuming his horse is somewhere, like, it's probably a workhorse, like a Roundsea, right? Like,
sure.
Nothing big.
They've all been, hobbled to something. One of the little like palm tree type things.
Yeah.
A horse tree.
A horse tree.
Of course. Yes, of course. And he will kind of not stumble inelegantly, but sort of stride towards his, giving a polite nod to Alfred, Rob, and Marzia as she paces, and will go immediately to his rucksack. He's still got his sword by his side. He's in probably his gambeson at the moment. In contrast to Rob, it's of Reacher make and terribly, terribly ragged. At one point, you assume it might have been yellow. As time has gone on, it has turned into sort of a brownish color. And as he actually, like parts of it have gone pale, but then it's like the dirt has taken place. What I'm saying is the prop master did some brilliant weathering effects on this particular piece.
Okay.
As he goes in and probably produces something gut-wrenching. Definitely not exactly what you would have at a lord or lady's table, but he kind of looks to...
This brings us like special brew. Some like homebrew special, like
no, he didn't brew it. He didn't brew it. He just knows somebody who did. And maybe they didn't get the right mixture at the right time.
Like the darkest, most pungent ale.
Yeah,
this is grog. So so grog. They may have here we go. A bit of beer history. So they may have got like a barrel of distilled something from Old Town into the little tavern thing in Fox Hollow, right? And after they do that, they chuck in a load of beer just to age it in these barrels. And what happens is that beer soaks in all of that alcohol from the wood. And what you get out of it is grog. And so this stuff is like dark, it's slightly thick. It's got that kind of whiff of grain alcohol, or maybe a nice whiskey or something. But it's got that kick, and it's a good 13 to 15%. Like they won't have measured, but it'll give you some hairs on your chest, kind of thing.
And I think he probably keeps it in a separate skin from the water, like something marked with like a red X, or like crossed with red stitching.
Well, so this is nice. Like, what is that flask like, and how long has he had it, and like that's a bit of history there, right?
I tell you what, this is how I'll do it. If you would like, I can sort of say I read the room and roll empathy just to see what the general sense is?
No, dude, that's fine. Like you
Sure.
see there, Rob
Yeah.
wants a drink. Marzia is pacing up and down. Alfred is a little bit lost, but wants to kind of carry on and just keep pushing.
He'll take it out. It's of a sheepskin. Sheepskin with red stitching for the flask itself. And he'll sort of uncork it, take a whiff, and sort of mosey on over to Rob and hold it out, just silently.
Yeah, and I think this is probably happening in the background of whatever conversation's happening at the same time. And Rob, like he looks down to the flask, he looks up to Briar. There's just like a small smile in the corner, just the corner of his lips, and he takes the flask without hesitation and takes a solid swig of it, but just a swig, and hands it back.
Careful. Got this about a year ago.
I'll be okay. Thank you.
Larger swig. You're right, though. They won't make it through these mountains.
I know.
Yeah.
What's is he wearing clothes? Is he entirely armorless besides that like nasty Gamison?
Now hold on, but yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Naked from the waist down. No.
No.
Are you? I'm sorry. I should know this, but I don't. Are you like their captain or something? Are you in charge of them?
Well, he hasn't made me, but always room for promotion. And he kind of looks to Alfred very pointedly and chuckles to himself.
Alfred would raise an eyebrow.
Shit. Well, I suppose not. Just a hollow heart. At the moment, at least. And you're Sir now, ain't you?
Yeah, I guess so.
And in the lady's favor. It's quite the feat.
Just lucky, I guess.
Come back looking like that and you call yourself lucky.
Well, you weren't there. Could have been worse. Probably would have been. I don't know who it was who helped me out of there, but without them, I don't think I'd be here now.
So you crawl all the way back. So do you, I guess. And he kind of says that under his breath as he looks to Alfred. What's it about Fox Hollow? Something about it.
Did you require something, Briar?
Your attentions, if you've some to spare. And he will take another swig.
Go ahead. Unless it is to suggest I take a nap.
I would not do you that dishonor so soon after the first time. You remember the last time, obviously, that Maekar stood before us.
Prince Maekar.
You know what he took. You know what you lost. Now, I was the only one to actually see that, if I recall correctly, and he will take a very pointed look at Alfred and Rob. And I saw that look on your face. Felt it drive iron in my heart. Now, you are the lady of the house. Your word far as I'm concerned, is law. Why? Because the only saint that I know lives in Fox Hollow, and you're the closest thing to a god that I will ever acknowledge. You go to make her. You don't go alone. You take some of these men, get them out of these mountains onto a road that they can take their precious bloody time with. Send someone like me. See if we can't make Ironwood a little less of a problem. See, the thing is, they're used to guarding a house. I'm used to guarding a caravan. Rickety collection of carts. It's honest work. It's hard work. But I'm used to it. And I'm used to getting the shit end of it. So, if the prince must be appeased, if you have to suffer through that again, I might privately suggest you don't do it alone. But take him. He's had his eye on you for God's know how long. I'm gonna neck another thing while pointing to Alfred.
Alfred's eyes will just kind of tighten, and he'll go, "That will be all, Briar."
The men require your attention whenever you have any to spare. Think they need a lord and not a master at arms.
You're dismissed, Briar.
So I am. He's going to leave the flask with Rob and put a hand on his shoulder. Lose that. You lose your hand. Pat him on the cheek and go.
And just kind of, as he watches him walk off, and then he drinks more from the flask, kind of looks around between Alfred and Marzia, clears his throat, and just says, do you require me or my presence, my lady? Or...
Go and rest, Rob. I'll let you know what is decided.
If it please your lady, I think I'd like to take a look around the area, make sure that we're safe here tonight. I'm feeling better, and I want to be useful.
Don't wander too far.
I won't.
Alfred will give him a small smile.
He smiles back at Alfred and shakes the flask a little bit and offers it over to him as he's passing by.
He'll refuse.
Suit yourself. I'll be back at camp in a little bit. He'll just leave the tent and walk out into the night to go circle around the perimeter.
Apologies, my lady. Perhaps a few lashes on Briar when we get back will sort him straight.
Perhaps. Alfred, we're not in the mountains hunting for enemies. Though I can understand that everyone would like a fight. The Ironwoods were meant to be our allies. They could still be, we don't know. The problem is, anyone who could have been Meria's ally is dead. Anyone who was there, anyone who knows anything about this is dead. And if we are found with her by Maker, We have no answer for him. We've got nothing else to offer him. And he knows there's no way that the prince has not found out by now what Robert said in Highgarden. I think we do need people to ride quickly to Ironwood. But I think I should speak with the prince. I made many promises to get Maria back, and simply having her in my presence isn't the same. We need to free her from the lies that people are saying that she's a spy. She's working with some... I don't know.
I agree, my lady.
I'd hope there'd be more peace in peacetime.
There are always people looking for power, my lady. Peace never lasts.
And we can't trust our neighbours, Alfred. The Tarleys. Certainly not distant neighbours. She refuses to even say the name. And I don't know what reception we might find in the mountains. I wonder if the Dornish view the Reach as the Reach view the Dornish. Raiders if you're on the wrong side of the border.
Speaking from my experience with the Dornish, my lady, it's somewhat similar.
We've heard nothing from Blackmont, although Rob never made it, so it's no surprise, but where would you go? To Ironwood or Summer Hall?
I'll go where you are, my lady, but if it were me, I think coming from going to Summer Hall to see His Grace, you will come from a much stronger position when going to Ironwood.
I had an interesting first year of marriage to Lucas. We had no children, and I'd made a promise that we would. I met a woman who told me my daughter would be more powerful than any woman I'd known. When I did fall pregnant, I had 2 sons. And now I am a widow.
You are still very young, my lady. You will marry again.
Perhaps. Perhaps that might earn us some friends. But regardless, for now I do have a daughter. And I will get her back.
Yes, my lady, we will.
I'm going to go to Summer Hall. Visit His Grace, if he's there. Visit my sister. And my son. And Lana.
Will be quite a reunion, my lady.
Seems half of Greenmont enjoys His Grace's company. Or at least his household.
Let us hope His Grace enjoys ours just as much.
I doubt it.
Yes, I doubt it too. But we can hope.
We can.
Am I to set the men everyone to head to Summer Hall?
No, someone needs to go to Ironwood.
Well, it would seem the Briar suddenly volunteered to do such a thing.
And her entire jaw just clenches really hard.
Alfred kind of tries to suppress a smirk, but he fails miserably.
How can you laugh at him? Never met someone so inept at such a simple job. Protect the road, and he didn't do that. Protect the people of the feast.
It's a surprise he still has a position.
Ahead? Yes.
That too. There must be a reason you kept him alive.
I think I'm just tired of death, Alfred.
I could understand that.
I asked about him. They tell me he used to be a sellsword.
A lot of soldiers are.
How many soldiers do you think?
A fair few, milady. Once you become a soldier in great wars, and the wars end, all you know is fighting. So they go to be sellswords.
You trust a man bought for coin. Is that loyalty stronger than one born to a place?
For me, my lady, no. Loyalty to a cause and to someone's honor will always be more preferred. But I guess it depends on how much money you give the sellsword.
How much do you think 200 gold dragons would buy?
Sam, would I have any idea whatsoever?
I don't know, man. I'm just listening to the juicy fruits. Like, I mean, why don't you?
It's just an abstract, large amount of money.
Okay, so
yeah,
right.
Alfred's never even, it's
mechanically speaking, in terms of the actual house economy, what you can do with mercenaries is instead of investing power, you invest wealth.
Yeah.
But we've been playing with some house rules where, like, Tom, you're worth how much? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I think what was it, 42?
40 coppers or something?
40 a week or something, or a
Something
day,
like
or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So, but I will like bring in the rules. Like, if you want to actually get a mercenary unit, you invest wealth rather than investing power in that unit.
Okay. I'm just thinking manpower wise, how many men you could probably get for that much, because it's a lot of money.
200 dragons.
It's a lot of money.
I mean, that's.
Do you know?
I've done the math before, based on like George R. R. Martin's writing, but that's not mechanical rules, though. It's something. I mean, it's pretty large. I'm pretty sure it's something like 10,000 men for like month or two or something like that.
Okay.
That's like the canonical answer, but
or if we did it as like a wealth
it's not even enough for one. It's not even enough for one unit.
Yeah.
I'll just.
You could defo. What's the weird thing is that obviously you're investing that wealth and it's abstracted, so it's not like there's a kind of assumed upkeep with that and all that kind of stuff. But I would tell you. I mean, maybe you are looking at like a group of knights. So Charlie, this is more like Jamie's cadre, or like it's a small unit of knights. You could hire them for a few months or something, basically. I mean, this is the ridiculous thing, is that actually it's a lot of money. It's a load of money. And it's just it's abstracted differently in the game. But I'm going to say, if you wanted a proper unit that would be investing wealth, if you wanted to hire some NPCs, some dudes, then we can go by some of the house rule stuff that we've been doing. If you guys want to chat a little bit more, I'll have a look.
This is kind of mostly as an abstraction at this point for Marzia. It's just if I threw this amount of money.
Yeah. Alfred will pause and kind of I do not know, my lady. You could probably get a fair few for that. It depends how long. Are you planning on using... Are you planning on purchasing some mercenaries, milady?
I don't know. But in a strange way, I think we are at war. We don't have much of an army. Don't have much of anything to fight with.
If it's, in my opinion, milady, we're always at war. Just sometimes it's not fought on a battlefield. The political games of the lords, ladies, is a constant battle of attrition. And
30 armed men is not a political game.
No, milady.
Murders in my house is not a political game.
Do you plan to march on Oak Heart, milady?
No. Not yet. I don't know what I plan on doing. I've written to demand reparation for what was done, recognition that what was done was wrong. At some point, I can't just keep allowing things to happen to our house. Keep trying to make friends with people who would as soon put poison in our drinks and stabs us in our back. It's a waste of time and lives.
I wish I had an answer for you. I don't.
There's a problem for another day. We have Marzia, the Ironwoods, and Maker to deal with today.
I will set the men right to head to Summer Hall. Who would you like to go to Ironwood?
I'd like you to go.
Me, milady?
Of everyone here, I trust you and your judgment.
I mean, thank you, milady, but that would mean...
Dawn being a bastard is not such a bad thing. And
no.
You are the master of arms, and we have a halberd that must be delivered home. And should Marzia be in danger, I trust that you could rescue her. And that you could keep her safe in the mountains until we could find some better way. If you do believe in Briar, perhaps it is better he is out of my sight and out of Makar's earshot.
If I'm honest, milady, I barely know what to make of Briar, but I think I can probably handle him.
I would send him home, only it seems unfair to inflict that on Babblebrook and my grandmother. Although, perhaps he would amuse my grandmother.
In that case, milady, I will suffer the company of Briar for Fox Hollow.
Would you take none of the men?
We will be fine with just the two of us. We can move quicker. We can be quieter. And I feel less people approaching the gates of Ironwood, the better. A few extra men won't make a difference.
If they ask, you should tell them that I intend to visit and I send my apologies for my absence.
Of course, lady. Am I there to retrieve Lady Miriam?
You should see what the situation is at Ironwood before you decide exactly what your mission there is. But your mission is to protect her.
I'll do as best as I can, my lady.
And when you do see her, there will be a lot to tell her about her family.
I guess.
Our family, Alfred.
I guess it's better for her to know from her family.
I wish that I could have written her sooner. There's so much to say.
You'll tell her in person soon enough.
How do I persuade a prince with no witnesses that she's innocent?
By giving him the only witness we have, Lady Miriam.
Perhaps. Well, I should take a walk and stretch before rest.
Of course, my lady. I'll have a guard sent with you. And he'll nod his head and head out of the tent, grab himself a hollow heart that is on duty, and tell him to escort Lady Marzia wherever she wants to go. And then he's going to go around the hollow hearts, tell them there's a change of plan. You're heading to Summerhall with Lady Marzia.
There's a mixed response. Most of them pleased that they'll be heading north rather than heading south further into this cursed desert. A briar is close by around.
And I think he would have been sort of in Rob's orbit as he had the flask and he's just waiting to get it back.
Well, sure. So you see Rob leave the tent. Let's backtrack slightly.
Sure.
And you see him head over towards the horses. Maybe he's checking his own or something like that. You head over to the horses yourself after peering over to a couple of men who have got their own something in a wine flask or something, and that they're sharing between the two of them. And when you head back to the horses themselves, Rob's not there. And you look around and it's not like there's a lot to go off and wander around or hide behind. The pass is fairly flat, if undulating land. It's so there's not a lot of big fat comedy boulders in the way or anything. This is a fairly open space, and you look back around towards the camp as well, and Rob's gone.
I want to try and roll notice to see if there's something amiss.
Sure. Are you just taking a glance right now, or are you actually actively searching the camp now at this point?
Just a glance at the minute to see if I get anything.
Okay.
So notice, I guess.
It is awareness notice.
19 with one fumble.
No, it's okay. Yeah. So you have a glance around. You have a look, you think, well, maybe there are some tracks. It's a bit dark, even though there's a campfire going. But you still don't see any sign of Rob.
You're not hiding from me, are you? And he's just going to start looking around for Rob.
I mean, unsurprisingly, you get no response.
Yeah, no, obviously. And now just sort of traipsing through, trying to see where the hell he's gone.
Sure, okay. Roll me one last awareness notice check, as you've changed some of the circumstances of what you're doing. Now you're actively looking around the camp. You can sub out any... Oh, okay.
Fuck. How? I have 5 in awareness. You bastard, roll 20. All right, 15.
So that's rolled 4 dice, 4 keep dice and 2 bonus dice.
What?
Let's take a second to just check out your sheet there.
Yeah, no, 5 wounds. Notice of 1.
Awareness
So
5. Why is that dropping a dice? That's odd.
I don't have a flaw in awareness.
Isn't it?
Do you have a wound or something
6?
marked on your sheet somewhere?
Yeah, maybe.
Do I have a wound? I do not believe so.
No.
Check.
No wounds.
Let me click onto info again for you quickly here. Let me just try one last.
Yeah, that's rolled 6 dice and it's dropped 1.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, is it?
It's
Yeah,
only
5
No,
in awareness
mathematically,
and a
that's right.
bonus dice is 6.
Sorry, it's because that one was red and the other one's grey, and it confused me for a minute. Sorry.
All good.
Yeah. You head through the camp, passing by the men, even getting up quite close, checking faces again, just so you haven't like missed something in the dark or it's being weird. You even head round to the back of the tent at this point, just to make sure, and you don't see Rob anywhere about there. Alfred, you've just left to so at this point now you've just left to go and talk to the guards, and so yeah, there is a kind of a mixed reception, but they are fairly happy that they are heading north.
Sorry, lads, it's gonna get a lot cooler the further north you go.
Yeah. Don, what is Rob up to?
So, I mean, he's gone out further away from the camp, and he's using his skills as a devoted to stay low to the ground and in the shadows and the brush as much as he can. I guess at this point, he's probably he's just looking. He's gonna look to see if there's any signs of like fires in the distance. Any signs of predators, right? Because I think the last time Rob was up here, they got attacked by a large cat. Just doing the things that the Hollow Hearts aren't really designed to do, but the devoted are trained to do, and Rob's actually quite good at.
Sure. So yeah, you're a bit further south. You're quite a bit lower down here than you were when you encountered say the Shadow Cats to the east, just near Vulture's Roost. Why don't you roll me a survival track check?
Oh no! Can I use awareness and just like be generally aware rather than checking for tracks?
Yeah,
Is
sure.
that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, he's not really a hunter.
Sure.
He's more of a scout.
Okay.
That's an awful roll.
A 9. Okay, cool. So
Well, 20 hates awareness, apparently.
I know,
Jeez.
doesn't want you to see anything. You were lucky that you're not. Was it like that? There's that kind of fire blind thing, where if you're kind of looking towards light, so all of the campfire light is actually, even though it's still quite far away now, is beaming out into this wilderness. And as your eyes slowly adjust to this, you hear the sounds a little of you're not sure. There are definitely creatures out there. You can hear the faint rustle of crickets and stuff like that. There's even a core in the sky far away. So this land is alive, even though you're out in the middle, effectively in the middle of nowhere. But you don't see any evidence of those creatures, but you are aware of the ambience of that.
I think he just takes that time a little further away from the campfire light now, to crouch down, is 2 feet low, and he cocks his head up towards either the clouds or the moon, whatever's in the sky, and he just kind of smells the wilderness, and he takes a drink from that flask. And he's thinking really hard about something. He'd probably stay out there not for too long, but just take a moment for himself, away from the other people. and then screw the cap back onto the flask. And if he doesn't see anything, particularly threatening, then he'll stand up and walk back to camp and, try to find, I guess, at some point, try to find Marzia.
Sure.
Before he turns in.
So you come upon the camp scene as Alfred is talking to the various Hollow Hearts. Is now joining in, sharing some water with a couple. Marzia, Charlie, is she heading out and then she want to try and meet Briar, or is she kind of inviting him in and then she's heading out herself?
It's more she would come out, and then if she spots him, she would go and have her word before she goes.
Briar seems to be looking about the camp, like he's looking for something or someone. It's a confused, mild frustration, like of
mild.
All right, he's frustrated and he's looking for something, like something is clearly missing.
And she'll walk to him. Are you looking for the Lord of the House or something, Briar?
Red Rob, actually. Is he the Lord of the House now?
She punches him.
Okay, I mean, I was about to go bio, but I want you to. You want to?
She's never punched anyone in her life.
Okay.
She would aim to break a nose.
Can you please roll?
Wow.
Okay. Fighting.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I would like to use that bonus dice, please.
You also have a keep dice.
Oh my god, come on!
That.
Oh my god, she's going all
out.
out.
Okay, for context, I only have 1 in fighting, Briar. This is not gonna hurt you.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But yeah, I'll throw a bonus dice on it.
2 crits.
Okay. I will not have my shield, so I'll go ahead and take down
a 4.
Wow, even I've got some bad news. I've got a defense of, let me see the math here, 8. So
are you wearing a helmet?
I am not wearing a helmet.
Okay.
No.
Well, I tell you what, Jason, it's up to you whether you think he gets out the way or he will.
No, he would look and see that frustration and just he would sort of lean his head out of it to try and like soften the blow, but he would.
What is unarmed damage?
Unarmed damage, I believe it's athletics -2.
Yeah, isn't it your athletics or something?
Yeah, it's athletics -3, and then with athletics, or excuse me, with brawling 1, it's athletics -2.
Okay.
But there would be solid connection, and there would probably be like a red spot.
You definitely
where there was not one.
You definitely don't break a nose, and yeah, you do feel like that hurt you more than it hurt him. There was that classic movie kind of like, and then he comes back. Yeah, and you're like, that's a punch, Jesus.
Why do people punch each other?
Like doing this?
Yeah, for sure.
And almost immediately, like as soon as you like have that reaction, it would be like he would actually reach out and be like, "Milady, are you hurt?"
Never speak to me like that again. Never suggest there should be a lord of this house so long as I am the Lady Regent. Unless you'd like to hang from the weirwood tree where the old gods can see a traitor.
The old gods see a lot, huh? He's not talking to you. He sort of just kind of says that. And there's another kind of sentence that almost spills forth. So 30 men. Stormers. Saw a babe taken away. They see a lot, don't they? My lady, I am sorry. My mind is ill-shaped for such things.
You have a long and difficult journey ahead. You should rest. I suggest you use caution when addressing Sir Alfred. He does know how to punch a man. And she's going to walk away because her hand really hurts.
He's gonna like try to reach out and like try and do something, but he stops short of like stepping forward and just kind of puts his hands in his pockets.
If his hand goes up, Alfred's got his hand on his sword like instantaneously. He's ready. Like instantaneously. The hand goes, and the second it goes back, he eases up on the. I mean, it's instant.
I will have thought that when she threw the punch, like
Oh,
a couple of
all
Holler
looking.
Hearts stood up. They're all looking.
We're all looking, yeah.
And you see Briar's mood shift radically. Like where there was this sort of frantic, frenetic pace, now there's just this like quiet melancholy that he immediately just kind of departs. Like not another word, but very much affected by whatever was said.
And I think Marzia forgets she was going to go on a walk and goes straight back in the tent.
So Don, you can catch her if you like.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, bloody hell.
Yeah, I think he's probably just returning. So he's at the edge there, just watching the end of this interaction. And he looks down to the flask and he walks over to Briar and he says, I saved you some. Thank you.
Just snatch it from his hand and
hey, don't worry about it, okay? I've been punched by women, ladies and lesser, many times.
How old are you, boy?
I'm 20.
You think that's the first time I've been punched by a woman? Fuck, you need to live more. And he just immediately goes away.
He thinks about that for a moment and kind of bobs his head and says, "Yeah, I could see it," to himself. And then he'll go ahead and he'll go into the tent if he sees Marzia go into the tent before the end of the night. And just very, very timidly at first, he kind of ducks his head in and just clears his throat to not startle.
And Marzia kind of straightens up as if, back into lady mode. Here we go. Did you find something interesting on your wander, Rob?
No, not that I could see. It's pretty dark out. But I was wondering, did you figure out what we're going to do tomorrow?
Alfred and I came to a conclusion. Rob, I'd like you to come with me to Summer Hall. I intend to speak with the prince about Lady Maria. And you are a witness to some of it. If you don't mind recounting to someone else.
I don't mind, but my understanding, Lady Marzia, is that the prince isn't a very forgiving man, and what I've done, telling them what I told them, you don't think that he would hold me accountable for treason, do you?
No. Rob, you did only what you were asked to do.
It feels like treason.
If you hadn't done what you were asked to do, then you would have been disloyal. Disloyalty is as bad as treason. It's a thing of character. As you say, the prince is not a forgiving man. But the prince is our prince. And I believe he wants peace and wants the right people to be punished, the people who do a disservice and a disjustice to vows and to the laws of this land and to the king. That's why he's hunting spies.
I think he'd enter the tent more fully then, and maybe find a place to slowly kind of sit down and just stretch a little bit as he's listening. He looks up to Marzia and he says, I can't even begin to understand what's going on. I don't know anything about princes or politics, lords and ladies. But are we all going together then tomorrow?
No, I've asked Alfred to go ahead to Ironwood to let them know we shall be visiting and to check on the Lady Miria, to see what is the state of affairs there. Alfred can go quicker than any of us. And if there is trouble, he'll find a way.
I don't want to offend you, and may I be candid, Lady Marzia?
Everyone else is being very open with their thoughts this evening.
A couple of years ago, I stole some bread. Wasn't the first time. And unlike the previous times, I got caught. It wasn't just bread on me. I had other things that didn't belong to me. And I remember people I thought my friends, or at least my acquaintances in Fox Hollow, clamoring for me to be strung up, hung. But a friend of mine saved me, convinced the Lord, your husband, to take me on as a squire. And I think most boys probably would have been embarrassed at their age to be a squire. But I wasn't embarrassed. I was grateful for the opportunity. I was with your husband when he passed, and I took that message on. And I was with Ser Olyver when he went up into these mountains, and I came back. You made me a knight. I don't know why still. And I went down to Highgarden, and everything I've been through, all the people in my life that ever cared about me, they're all gone now. Except for that friend. If it please you, lady, I'd like to be and to help Sir Alfred. I think in the mountains, I can actually do something in front of a prince. I don't know what I can do.
Do you want to be a knight now, Sir Rob?
And he looks down to his hands that are caught between his two knees, and he's sort of rubbing his knuckles. I don't know what I want, Lady Marzia. I want to help. do something important.
Would you give me one night? One night to think about it?
Of course. You're the lady.
And I'll offer you this. If in the morning I do ask you to come with me to Summer Hall, after that is done, if you would like it, I can release you from service to our house.
Oh, my lady. Where Alfred goes, I go. And I'm loyal to you. And I'm grateful that you'd still have me.
Then I suggest you and Sir Flowers go to sleep.
I think that's a good idea, my lady. He stands up and stretches his back again. It's a little slow as he's kind of putting a hand to his rib. I hope you get some sleep too.
Good night, Sir Rob.
Good night, lady. He leaves the tent.
When the sun rises in the morning, it doesn't take long for the heat to also rise, and by the time you would be enjoying an easy breakfast at Fox Hollow, the men have pretty much all eaten. The tent is sweltering and close, sticky with humidity. And it's at this point that you rise, Marzia, with a very, very fussy sun, and you head out to see the group, essentially, in the morning, as they're all tucking into a mix of field rations and some kind of freshly caught hare that someone got very early in the morning. What is your decision, and is there anything you'd like to address with the group as a whole?
I think Marzia would open by announcing that we are to split our paths, with Sir Alfred going to Ironwood to bear condolences to the house for the loss of their son, and with any luck to meet with Our Lady Myria there. And she'll kind of take in the condition of everyone, and I think judge that they got a little sunburnt, but everyone's kind of okay. She'd been weighing up whether or not to send most of them back.
Yeah. Tell me what, roll me endurance for the Hollow Hearts, because it's an injury. It's been a day. They've had rest. Okay. Difficulty 6.
Nope.
Okay. They haven't quite recovered. They're still quite hot. Actually, it's starting to peel. Like, people are, getting bits off their neck and stuff. They look uncomfortable.
I think she'll remind everyone that we are friendly with our neighbors in the mountains, and that no one here is our enemy. I.e., don't go starting fucking fights just because you're out of my sight. Can't take it. And she'll tell the general men to go and, collect the skins from the oasis, make sure the horses are ready. We'll set out and we'll ride until the sun's too hot, and we'll find somewhere to stop. Hopefully, maybe, by the Fowlers or, one of the noble houses on the way, maybe we can find some of their kind of outlying property or something and seek somewhere to rest. Because we are going to Summer Hall to entreat Prince Maekar.
So that's you,
Braith,
all
all the men.
Okay.
And when that's set about, she'll kind of call Alfred, Robb, and Briar to her and remind them that everyone in the mountain is our friends, and to be truthful when they meet our neighbors at House Ironwood. And suggest that they take no action that isn't entirely necessary. That she plans to bring Prince Maekar to House Ironwood to settle properly the affairs at hand. But I think there's the undertone of, if Miria is in absolute danger, get her the hell out of there. And, you know, find a way.
So for clarity, that's the 3 lads on screen?
Yes.
Are going to Ironwood?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think she'll look at Robb very briefly to see if he's changed his mind about where he wants to go.
Yeah.
I think you would probably see like a small, almost grateful smile on his face. And he would just ask, if once we're to Ironwood, do you want us to send you a raven to Summerhall, or is there anything we should do other than keep an eye on Lady Miria?
Yes, send word if you can. It would be good to know what to expect and how she is. I had a dress made for her. You should take that as well. It shouldn't burden you too much. And she's like running through her head everything she's got to remember for today. And then she kind of reaches into her dress pocket, because I can have pockets in my dress if I want to. And this is fantasy. This is fantasy. I'm allowed pockets in my dress if I want them.
What else would you do with fantasy worlds apart from put pockets in your clothing? Right.
Dresses for dresses. Uh-huh.
And she'll pull out a small kind of a vial of some description, I imagine, and there's like dried herbs in it, and it's like a counteracts fever, swelling kind of thing, like medieval ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And she'll give that to Robb and say that she prepared it in the evening for him to help with his healing.
He'll take it, and like his hand will probably like just briefly cup the back of her hand for a moment, and just give a little squeeze, and he'll say, "Thank you. If Lady Miria is in trouble, where should we take her? Back to Fox Hollow or to Summerhall?"
And she looks uncertain. Her instinct reminding her of a cave that looks over Vulture's Roost, and that's a good place to hide when you're hurt. And she looks to Alfred. So flowers, that will be for you to judge. Where possible, I'd prefer you wait. Or perhaps bring her to Summerhall, but does depend on the situation and the dangers involved. Didn't hear you, Tom.
Sorry, a little sand. As you say, my lady.
And I think for the sake of this, she's actually going to remove her Greenmont ring and give that to Sir Alfred as kind of proof that he is acting on her behalf.
Lady, won't you need this?
You'll give it to me back when we are all back together. Don't
of course.
lose it.
Of course. And he'll kind of get a leather strap, pull it round, and then put it round his neck, and then tuck it in his leather armor.
May that time be sooner rather than later, my lady. And Briar is in a completely different gambeson because he's down the rest of his alcohol, and one of the fires was particularly heavy that night for whatever reason. It's a sort of Greenmont green with gold threading and some light, pardon, some light motifs of like, not roses, a different flower, something that grows in Dorne, obviously betraying its make. And yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, just that it's a little bit better than the one previously.
Just for the meta, Sam, the boys get the halberd, the dress for Maria, and in the dress for Maria is the painting that Oliver did of her.
Oh.
The Marzia is kind of hidden in there.
Oh, who is entrusted with these belongings?
I think she gives them to Rob.
Write that down.
He's gonna write slower.
Mr. Don.
And the dress, Sam, I was gonna suggest had been made with a small part of one of Oliver's. I imagine it's done as like a ribbon or like a sash for it, but it's one of his kind of dress robes has been turned into a sash for the dress.
Yeah,
because it's in ironwood colors. So.
Oof. Juicy. All right.
And I think Marzia sits there and she's kind of, or stands there rather, and she's kind of rubbing her hands. The knuckles on one hand kind of reddened still from not knowing how to punch.
Bruised,
and on the
probably.
other hand, she's got like that little tan line because she has never taken that ring off since she's had it. Well, the Dornish sun doesn't wait for us. It's best we begin our journeys.
And the camps depart, one heading south, and now one heading north, along the Prince's Pass, up back towards the Dornish marches of the Reach. I would like to move on a little bit in time and do a little bit of overland travel, but we are going to join back up with Marzia as she makes her way with the Hollow Hearts, and she comes upon Pike. Pike is like the most typical castle. It is as if it was a castle drawn by a young page in one of the courts of Westeros. It is that perfectly square kind of castle design around inside a circular moat. The curtain wall is perfectly square, crenellated, with rounded towers on each corner. Its drawbridge is currently down, and is housed by a typical square barbican of old First Men stone that's a contrasting kind of pink colour compared to the greyer rock of the curtain wall, and especially the rounded towers. One of your guards identifies for you that this is Pike, my lady. We might stop here if the gods are good.
I think it would be a good idea. There are condolences to offer.
But this is peak land, isn't it, my lady?
Yes, it is.
We'll be right with you.
And I think she offers him a smile as if to say, it's going to be all right. Be fine.
You walk along the first bridge onto that little island just before the actual drawbridge. And that is when you notice that hanging from a post that's jutting out from the barbican, there's actually a couple of them. Sorry, there's a few of them. A couple of them are actually occupied by tarred heads that have been tied up and are hanging from a couple of those wooden posts. As you get closer, you see they are the shocked expressions of death from a couple of Reacher men. Nothing distinguishes them from anyone you know, or anyone you don't recognize them. But flies are starting to buzz around them, and there are a couple of well, there are more than a couple, I would say, actually, because you get this sense that Pike is on a bit of an alert, like Fox Hollow is. There's a few men on the island. There's a few men at the actual gate of the Barbican, who ask for your, basically ask for your heraldry, who you are and what you're doing here.
Lady Marzia of House Greenmont. I wish to ask your lord's hospitality. We're on a journey to Summer Hall.
There are some whispers amongst the guards. A couple go off. There is an awkward wait. And as the heads are actually just above you now, as you stand just outside the Barbican.
I think she's doing everything not to look at them, because I think even the brief glances she's had, she just has flashbacks to horrible, horrible deaths that she's had to witness.
Sure.
And she's just not dealing with it. They're dead. I can't do anything about that. We're focusing on the castle. Look at that castle. Isn't it a nice castle? Great castle. I love castles. I should get a castle.
You can just see the portcullis or anything isn't down. You can see through the Barbican into the Bailey, and the keep beyond, and it's an old first men keep, of that kind of typical square rough stone construction, and it is not remarkably, but it is markedly in that kind of slightly pink, reddish red mountain stone that the first men would have likely used instead of a much more established quarry later on in this castle's lifespan. But after a couple of minutes of admiring this lovely castle and a couple more awkward minutes of awkward eyes and no small talk with these guards, the two guards that went off to enter the keep come back to you, and with a slight twinkle in their eye invite you in.
And I think she'll kind of take a very brief breath, not wanting to inhale the stink of dead things, and just proceed after them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the orders for the guards would have been to just like be chill.
Yeah, they are. They flank you as you head down and are escorted by these two peak guards. They take you through various a couple of antechambers. This keep is a bit larger than your own, whereas yours is probably a bit more kind of defensible because of the mountains. This is a castle proper, and you head into finally the Great Hall. Again, this kind of pinkish stone with a large glass window at the far end that beams light in from the southern side. And it is over the top and backlights an old stone throne with... almost a kind of actually a 7-point star design at the back and the top of it. In its seat sits a young man. Having met the man before, Sir Gorman, this is definitely like
Gorman 2.0.
Gorman Peak the younger, you know? Yeah. Not as muscular built, not as tall, but still with a rough jawline. Slightly unshaven, and even from this distance, you see that his eyes are ringed and darker than you would expect from a young lord.
Staying up, playing that Fortnite.
I know, right? Fucking young'uns these days. His court seems like one of melancholy, as the notes of a morning tune ring out from a lute of a singer that's there, and then these kind of wistful tones of a sad song call out. It's very beautiful, but very soulful and sad. The kind of teenage equivalent of like listening to sad music when you're sad.
I'm not okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Everybody hurts.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But he stands, takes a few steps down from the dais, comes towards you, greeting you. Lady Marzia Greenmont. And he takes the bread and salt from the person presenting it to him as they come round to you now as well to present you with hospitality.
My Lord Pike, and she'll curtsy low and then kind of adjust her cloak a little. May I introduce you to Lord Greenmont? And she's got the baby kind of swaddled because that's what she's doing today. She's got the baby.
He almost like kind of peers over in a kind of snooty like, oh, what's that? Oh, right, okay. I find it so interesting that you are here in our hall. What business do you have here at Starpike?
My lord, we simply wished to offer condolences and hoped for a place to rest on our journey to Summer Hall. We both mourn, my lord. Both mourn a conflict that happened in the mountains, out of our sight.
What do you know of it?
Only what I have been told by those who returned. Only what I was told by those who left. Your father had very strong beliefs of what is right and what is wrong. I asked him to be God's father to Lord Greenmont, and he accepted. I cannot offer anything at all that would make any of this better. But believe me, I do not come here in any hostility or in any false pretense.
The men that failed me, men that failed my father, are out on the Barbican now. I'm sure you saw them. Failed to protect my father. Failed to find him. Failed to act. Failed to pursue his killers. So tell me, my lady, what did you hear? What did your men tell you?
May I sit, my lord? It is a long tale, but I promise to keep it as brief as I can.
Please. He goes to sit back on his throne, his dais.
And she'll kind of wait for a chair to be brought to her.
Yeah, they bring
sit
you one
in the middle.
They bring you one. They bring you two chairs. They bring you one for you, and then they're like, they're like a restaurant without high chairs. They're like, and they just leave it and just kind of bugger off.
And she'll sit there with an empty chair beside her, which is not an unfamiliar feeling for Marzia. So,
But yeah, there is that kind of awkward, like, you get that feeling of that awkward, like, everyone's kind of on edge to do the right thing. So they
wants
just
to start the fight.
They bring all the chairs and they're like, right, well, maybe we'll leave one because there are two of you, and and then they go.
I think Marzia just lets them fuss. She's not interested in that. She just kind of takes her seat and waits for the fuss to go away. My lord. From what I understand, this all began in Highgarden. Lords Tarly, Lord Alistair Oakhart, and your good lord, father, and a discussion of Dornish raiders. A problem my own lands had dealt with, and I understand yours too. And I believe young Lord Oakhart sought a conflict far too quickly. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Your good lord, father, Tarly Oakhart, came to Fox Hollow to entreat me to provide my men to such a force to deal with Dornish raiders. It's my understanding that the Oakharts petitioned the Lord Tyrell for help, and he refused. You have the same information.
That is as I understand it, yes.
Once at Fox Hollow, we discussed the fortunes of my daughter, Maria, who was abducted from Summer Hall in some confusion, accused of being a spy, which, whilst I will agree, many of the Fox Hollow children are brilliant, is rather a leap. I believe she was at a place called Vulture's Roost, a place known in Dornish history for some mythological king. I understand taking the Roost is a beggar king of some description, and the hosts set out to battle there. But before they left, there was an incident on my lands. One of the prisoners was murdered. His tongue was cut out. A fine way to silence a man. It was under Tarly's guard. And at the time, I couldn't understand who would do such a thing, whose interests it could be in. We were already going to Vulture's Roost to have a fight. We were going to get my daughter back, set down the raiders. But I believe now that this was connected to the young Lord Tarly. I've come to know his character far better now than I did then. We'll move forward in the story, and there was a battle at Vulture's Roost, as I'm sure your men told you. And the lords gathered in the tower, and they caught a man claiming to be the Vulture King, revealed to be Lord Blackmont, the man who had abducted my daughter. My daughter's uncle. How complicated family politics gets so quickly. During the end of the conflict, a number of people died in that tower. Lord Blackmont and your father, from what I understand. And the only witness I know of is Ser Olyver, my former master of arms.
Former?
Yes. It has been brought to my attention that Ser Olyver disagreed with Alistair Oakhart on that day as well. At least, given that he had to stow away with the returning forces to reach Fox Hollow. It all gets a little confusing for me at that point. Different people had different accounts of what exactly happened. But it ended with Tarly and Oakhart, the young lords. Lord Tarly did not return. Killing my men to obtain access to my hold, to murder Ser Olyver. I believe, my lord, that your father and his sense of what is right was twisted by at least Sir Alistair Oakhart, Lord Alistair Oakhart, if not also Tarly, into a dangerous situation. I believe these young men are ambitious and wish to seek great power in the Reach. And I believe they've become bloody in their ambition, and I think it started with the man on my land and accelerated at Vulture's Roost. If they had truly wanted to arrest Olyver, they would have asked me. I was never once asked. They would not have murdered men. They would not have broken hospitality and murdered a man in my hall. I try not to speak poorly of people, but in my mind, there are no blacker hearts out there than men who would do such things, claim to be allies, that would hunt with us and eat our feast. I don't know myself who killed your father. Lord Olyver was there, and perhaps he did. Perhaps they did fight. I don't know. But we'll never know now because everyone is dead, and isn't that convenient for Lords Tarly and Pike? And if you want to understand my stakes better in this, you should know that Prince Maekar came to my home after the hosts left and took one of my sons as a new ward for his home. I am honored by that, but you know I would not risk him with lies. And know too, Prince Maekar declared the skirmish illegal. Treason against the crown. I have experienced a lot of death recently. My lord husband, 7 months ago. Members of my guard, of my house. My master at arms. All for a fight with the Dornish. Raiders should be punished. People who fail to do their duty to guard the way deserve to be punished. Justly. And this is why I'm going to Summer Hall. For justice. Perhaps you've received word about my letters. I did send riders with word to the princes, to Old Town. Broken hospitality. It's not something that should be happening in peacetime. It's not something that should be happening anywhere. I wish, my lord, I could offer you an eyewitness account to tell you where to seek your reparations from precisely. But I can offer you this account and my belief that behind this all are two sick boys. seeking power where it is not theirs, seeking revenge for a war that is over. It's not the way that we heal or we grow. It's terrifying to have a house when you didn't expect it, to try and decide what is best, remember what is just. All those small folk with their complaints, all those people who need to be protected, and the guards and the soldiers and the ghosts.
In terms of objective here, Charlie, what did you have for this? Was this some kind of insight, or was this kind of convince of something? Or
this is a convince for him not to take fault with Greenmont, and to convince that if there is blame to be laid to rest, it's with Tarly and Oakheart.
Do you want to incite him against them, or do you want to just convince him that you aren't the threat?
I think right now she's convincing. She doesn't want more war. She doesn't want more fighting.
Fine. Roll the persuasion convince for me, and I want to give you 2 bonus dice for that.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Persuasion, convince. I'd also like to. Oh no, I already used my bonus dice. Never mind. So you give me 2 bonus.
There's a test dice still available for you.
I'm keeping that. I know what I want to use that for.
No problem.
All right, so I'm rolling 4 dice plus 3 bonus dice.
Yeah. So this is more of a quicker intrigue, so it's against his passive will.
21.
Yeah. Easy peasy. Wait, so before he speaks, you can see, and it's a very masculine thing, just before he becomes emotional, just as you see his just start to swell in his eyes, he stands up and he smashes a cup away from his chair, and he stomps down the dais and kicks over a chair that's on the other side from you. And then as his servants kind of all look on and his guards kind of stand, he just shouts, "More wine!" And then servants rush over and are kind of spilling a little bit as they fill up another goblet. Probably one of the few remaining goblets here he hasn't smashed already.
I think Marzia is using all of her will just to stay still and just let him do what he needs to do and not react to it, because servants obviously read reactions from other people and her men are around as well, and she's just gonna let him have his tantrum, because I think she was prepared for it, and that's why she was trying to convince him and not incite him, because she knew his father's temperament and how quick that was.
But as he slowly once you feel a little as if it's died down, he's a bit more still. He walks over to you slowly, and without looking at you, looking still towards the floor and more towards his goblet of wine, he says, "The small folk petitioners are fucking troublesome. It's true. You wish to stay for a night more?"
We've had a long journey, and I am in a hurry. Sam, what is the condition of the men and horses? Would it be best if we rested for 2 days, as we've been pretty rough until now? Or...
yeah, I think this is one of the first keeps that you've properly come across. One of the first holdfasts you've come across. So spending a night or 2 here would probably be a good shout from a morale perspective more than anything.
Yeah, I think that's what Marzia is thinking is, it's going to take us nearly a month to get there. An extra day or 2, it doesn't matter at that point. A week would matter, but a day or 2 doesn't make a difference. So I think she'll ask to stay for 2 nights.
For sure. As you settle into the keep, you are given quarters, guest quarters, whilst your men are invited to stay in the barracks. I think. Braith stays with you, and essentially we'll do as you say. We'll either share a bed or we'll I don't know, sleep on the fucking floor in the chambers or something. But I would imagine that maybe you'd keep her close to help with Bryn. And it's as you're settling in that there is a knock at the door.
I think Marzia would kind of nod for Braith to answer it.
Braith answers, and the figure of the young Lord Peak. Chat, give me a first name.
How old is the young Lord Peak?
Young Lord Peak is a teenager. Okay. Is not a young teenager.
That's what I was trying to contextualize, because 13 is very different from 17.
No, he's like 14.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like Rob Starkey.
Okay.
Durin, maybe. I like Durin. That's cool. But anyway, so we can figure that out. That's more for me. For a bit more later. But so the young Lord Peak is actually at the door. There's a Peak guard behind him in the familiar orange tabards with the 3 black castles as its heraldry. And he says, "My lady," and he kind of just steps in, Braith getting out of the way, and he says, "I thought it would be best for me to tell you this in person. It appears that you don't have to wait long. His Grace Prince Maekar is a few leagues from here, and he's making his way south with a host."
I understand. My lord, I will offer you some more honesty if you'll hear it.
I'm here for honesty.
One of my men was tortured in High Garden, and the location of my daughter, Lady Maria, was revealed, and it's possible the prince believes we lied. I was not certain of Maria's location until Olyver returned, and then he died. I have not had time until now to act upon it. But it's very likely the prince is not best pleased with my house.
Nor mine, if what you say is true about treason. Tell me, my lady, you have a little more experience with a holdfast than I do. What would you do in my stead?
I would tell your guards to welcome the prince and prepare, and I hope you know Valyrian.
And he looks back towards his guard for just a second and looks back at you.
My lord, I would understand if you'd ask us to leave. We could meet Prince Maekar on the road. As I said, it was not...
No, I don't think that's necessary. If you wish to speak to him and he wishes to head south and maybe stay here, then it's best that this is done somewhere civil.
And it is an honour to Star Pike to host a prince.
I hope so.
And it's more like she's trying to prompt him, like, you've got to use this line.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Alfred. The 3 of you are heading south down the Prince's Pass. Your charge is Skyreach, heading to the mouth of that river so that you might charter a way either down it or alongside it to get to House Ironwood. You are a little off the beaten track, though, for your own ramblings around the Seven Kingdoms. You're used to the Red Mountains to the west, and now the journey down the Reach from the north. So I need you to make me an orientation check, please.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you the difficulty.
Okay. Well, that's survival.
Thanks, Jason.
So that is a 15.
Okay,
With
cool.
That one.
Sure, no problem.
Are we there with, like, are we able to help?
Yeah.
Can we assist? Yeah.
I will let
Tree.
that's a tree that. I will let one other person assist. So if the person assisting wants to roll a bonus dice, and then Tom, check your result and see if that would replace any of the dice.
The lowest I got was a 1, so anything but a 1 would be an improvement.
I think Rob has at least been kind of in this area once before, at least, right? With Olyver.
This is further south than you will have been.
That's right, because we're going towards the river. What about Briar? Has Briar been this way before?
Hey, everybody. I've been to Ironwood a couple of times, yeah. And
cool.
Yeah, I'll say that I help in some of the fiddly bits, just in case.
Sure.
Oh, look at that.
I really help with some of the fiddly bits.
19 altogether, then.
Really nice.
Well done, Briar.
Well, so as a bonus dice, you would drop the
1.
Yeah. Cool.
So, wait, wouldn't that make it 20 or?
No, 19. Because we got to drop the 1. And...
One,
oh, no, right, you're right.
6 minus 1 is 5, plus
I was adding 5.
15.
Sorry, yes, so it's 20. Yes. It's late.
That's
nearly cheated us out of a point there.
We're almost done.
We're almost there.
We're almost
no,
there.
I can keep going. A couple of hours. Let's go.
Can you?
Yeah.
We can go. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I do have a couple of things. Cool. Okay. You head on your horses. You make difficult work of the terrain. Just the three of you heading down towards Pike of Skyreach. Stupid names. And eventually, Briar, you know that you are in Fowler country. And you start making more of a quicker trots like canter to try and make up some ground and try and pass through. You have not had the best experience with House Fowler in the past. However, Briar, I think, because you've got all those awareness dice, you notice over just quite far, just over a ridge in that haze that of the sun, when it's really hot and the heat's coming off the ground, you can just make out the mirage of another few riders, with shields glistening in the sun.
I'm gonna whistle to the other two and just have my shield up. And if I'll say this, my sword is no longer on my horse. It is always on my side. I even sleep with it at this point.
I think Rob will trot up to beside Briar and take the rein of his horse and say, "Will you hold on to this?"
Take it from you.
He'll slide off his horse and move off the path, like into the rocks, into the mountain, just to get out of sight.
On horseback?
No, he's
off of horseback.
dismounted.
He's giving me the reins.
Sorry, got you. Right, yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. After a few moments, Briar, Alfred, you'll notice that the horsemen are coming towards you.
How many are there?
They look to be 2 of them.
2. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind my saying, Master at Arms, he's going to tie the reins to his saddlebag. You might be joining him, unless you prefer us men of the road.
We will talk to them.
Briar is going to sort of take that and just sort of blink a couple of times, but say nothing. And just let you lead the way. Take point on this one.
Like white guy.gif.
Okay.
Sure. Cool. So you don't quite you don't head off the horse yet, do you, Briar? You're still just on it there, and then Alfred's riding next. Okay. Are you looking to try and outrun these guys, or are you going to meet them?
Yep,
oh no, that he wants to talk to them, so we're going to talk to them, obviously.
Cool. All right. Don, roll me a stealth check, I guess, if that's what you're doing.
22.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, they ride up to the two of you. One of them has hooked into the what's the bit where the feet go in the saddle?
The stirrups.
The stirrups?
That's the one.
Whatever
I don't do horses.
Neither do I. I just guessed.
I don't know.
It's okay.
Cool. We got stirrups in chat too. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Hooked into one of the stirrups is a standard, and from it is flying the silver flag with the hooded falcon in blue of House Fowler. And the other horseman is wielding a Dornish spear. Both are wielding shields of the house in glistening silver armor and head wraps and the spiked helms, the curved helms of Dornish knights on sand steeds. And these sand steeds you can tell immediately much such lighter work of the sand and the arid conditions as they happily trot over to you, and the standard bearer stops as the other horseman starts actually trotting around you, and then comes to the other side and says, "Travelers, who state your names? What is your business here?" And you it's from behind a tunic.
Blank stared Alfred.
I am Sir Alfred from the House Greenmont. We are journeying to Ironwood.
Ironwood.
That is
Why?
correct.
Why?
A matter of honor to return some effects to a recently departed of the family.
You see through a kind of but from just his eyes, from the helm coming down and obviously the face mask, the wrap over his lower face, you just see his eyes glance towards his standard bearer friend, but you hear a chortle underneath as he laughs a little at that. I would like you to make a status breeding test, please.
Shit. All right, here we go. 6.
That was me. I got a 6.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. 7. Boom.
Cool.
Sorry.
You go first. All right.
Okay.
We're going to play an intrigue here, chaps.
Let me get my cheat sheet.
Yeah.
I already know my first move, so yeah.
Cool. Okay. Is it switched to combat? No.
What? No.
Maybe.
Soon.
What?
Soon.
Cool. Okay. Well, pick your disposition towards them.
Indifferent.
Cool. We've done the initiative malarkey. Alrighty. And then what? Pick the technique you want to employ for this exchange, and then we will do some more roleplay.
It's just going to be convinced, if I'm honest.
Yeah, sure.
Just normal convinced. I need to double check something because of the multiple drawbacks that I have.
Okay. They are not of a higher status than you. Do not worry.
Okay, that's cool.
They're
cool.
also Dornish, so Bastard's not actually going to.
No, I was looking at marked. Sure. I was looking at marked, but that's for persuasion.
Yes.
We're good. Okay.
Yeah, so deception. Yeah, not so much. Okay. And do make sure you think of your objective here, whether it's just to get past them, for them to leave, even for them to like escort you. There could be like some ridiculousness there.
Do I tell you my objective?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. That's up to you. It will come probably through the roleplay anyway. So pick your technique, and now, we roleplay. I'll leave it open to you to kick things off a little bit, because they're having a little chortle amongst themselves, but they're waiting for you to kind of elaborate a little bit more.
Did I say something funny?
Are you aware of our history with the House Ironwood?
I'm afraid not.
Have you time for a story?
Of course.
We are the wardens of the Prince's Pass. We watch over the route here from the south. We have warred with the martial lords for eons. And when Princess Nymeria came to this land, it was our chance to join with the Martells and against the petty kings the Ironwoods were at the time. They have never forgiven us. I think it would be remiss of the duty to our Lord if we were to let you pass through these lands and to your intended destination.
You would halt us doing the honor of returning items of effect to a grieving family.
Yes, I think so.
So, it's true what they say about the Dornish. They have no honor.
Why don't you roll your action there, Tom? I like it.
Oh, yeah. What is my action? Convince. So
convince is the technique there. So you could just try and influence him, straight up cause some composure damage.
Oh yes, of course.
So you could try and fast talk. You could try and just consider. Gives you some bonus dice for the next exchange. You could try and retarget. Switch to combat.
I might.
Shield of reputation.
Awareness test.
I mean, I feel like switch to combat is going to be quite a quick result here from one of your other compadres.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd think that. By the way, just a quick note. Do we have like any money at all?
I do.
If you guys have any pocket change, then yes.
I can't remember. Did Marzia give us any money? I can't remember if she did.
Yeah, I don't think
she
she
did. But
did.
I've got.
She didn't give you any additional money, but you would have the 10 gold dragon. She's still musing on the whole let's buy an army plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that case, I think I will consider. I'm going to consider.
Okay. So you get +2 bonus dice for your next exchange.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stack. They don't carry over to other exchanges.
Yep.
So that'll be the next round. Cool. Okay. He is going to try and intimidate you. I can't bother to use any of the dice I've got on my screen. A 9 against your intrigue defense.
That's actually a good point. What is my intrigue defense? I think it's 6. Yes, 6.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've got a lovely, like, low-key intrigue
It's
here.
so low.
Everyone's
It's
quite
pathetic.
low down, right?
It's pathetic.
So that means that is 1 degree of success. The influence rank is will rank, which is 2. So that is 2 composure damage, but your DR will soak that, whatever your DR is to the person.
Ooh, that's a good point.
It's
Okay.
0 when it's indifferent.
Okay, cool. So I don't take any damage.
Yeah.
Or is it? Oh, it's not. Oh, right. The bonuses are 0.
Indifferent
My
As
bad.
per the book, it's 4. I'm actually rethinking that we use the cheat sheet values instead.
Oh, sorry. I've been using the cheat sheet values. That's what I've been.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Let's
Sure.
because it's simpler. It's like
It makes things quicker for for an intrigue, to be fair. Coolio. Alrighty. Yeah, you know, being the whole situation's quite tense.
Mm-hmm.
Don, what are you doing?
Yeah, so Rob is up in the rocks up above looking down. He is perched in such a position that he could make that jump down to the night if he wanted to. And he's waiting. He's not trying to get Alfred's attention or Briar's attention. He is just waiting.
You could like Assassin's Creed this shit.
Alfred knows exactly what Rob's doing. He knows exactly.
I'll let you have that. All right. Next round then. And Jason, let me know if you want to jump in for an assist with Alfred or switch to combat after he's taken a turn or something.
I actually. How much money does Alfred have?
You don't. What you want me to tell you, or
Would Briar know, like approximately? Like, no. Okay, obviously not. Not the best liar, but let's go. All right. I think I would want to try and strike a bargain here.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll put you at the end of the initiative.
Sure.
So it'll be these two guys, and then you, and then we'll check in with Rob. So within this exchange, what kind of bargain did you want to strike? So if bargain's a technique, then what's the role play behind it? What are you actually kind of offering and stuff?
Literally going to offer whatever he has, or at least a portion of whatever he has, and you allow safe passage.
Okay.
You're going to be the thing that I'm going to ask is, well, very important. So go ahead.
Well, so how much do you actually offer?
I don't have anything, and I don't know how much Alfred has. So let's say 20 stags each.
20 stags. For the 2 of you, 40 stags. 20 each. Or 20 stags to him and to me.
Well, how rich do you want to be by the end of the day?
More than 20 stags, if you were to travel through here.
Fair enough.
You
fair
say
enough.
we have no honor, and your friend here tries to bribe us.
He says that. You're dealing with me.
No, I am dealing with him.
Well, sure, if you want to deal with somebody who doesn't want to. Look, you're a smart man. So is your friend here.
You've never met me.
Well, you have the look of a smart man. And smart men take deals where they can find them.
What say you? Any advances on 20?
He'll look at Briar and look back. That's the best you're going to get.
I didn't want you to fucking reach your coin anyway. Turn around. Head home. If you know what is good for you.
Do I know, it might be difficult, how big this land is and how long it would take to go around?
Their domain, it's probably several leagues in like a radius.
Okay.
You basically to go round them, you would need to either need to head north into the mountains, so northeast into the mountains. It would take you much longer to do that, or you brave the desert for a bit, and then head east and back up north to the river.
The desert is definitely not an option right there. The mountains.
we are on opposite wavelengths. I'm like, let's go for the desert.
No.
The Dornish desert in summer.
Yeah. No, thank
Couldn't be
you.
worse.
Oh, it
Come
can
on.
be so much worse.
Good plan.
So much worse. Okay. And Alfred will nod. Very well. You just lost 40 stacks. Come on, Brian. And he'll turn his horse around and start going the other way.
Okay.
He'll let out a very sharp whistle, not knowing where Rob is, and just turn.
Okay. Is this a play for Rob to jump in? Or
No,
you guys heading?
it's calling it off.
Okay.
Or at least getting him back on his horse.
Okay.
So there's no, like, Alfred doesn't give any kind of indication, any kind of signal, nothing.
He's heading. He's basically going to go back the way he came.
Yeah. You hear a kind of come to whistle from Briar. Loud.
Yeah. Rob will stand up and come down the ridge back down to the path. But he'll stay standing, turned towards the knight. Is the knight turned, or is the knight just watching them leave?
Yeah. Are you still trying to be stealthy, or are you making it obvious that you're approaching?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to be stealthy at this point. I think he's going to make himself known as he's coming down.
Sure. As you come down, one of the horse with a standard bearer on it rears, and he has to pull back, and he turns towards you, and then his mate comes round towards you, and actually pulls a sword, but then is just holding his horse back as it starts to, its head starts to kick a little bit.
You'll hold up his hand and say, "That's not necessary. Now I understand that there's some sort of bad blood between you and the Ironwoods, and we're not here to cause any trouble. House Greenmont, our house, are friends with the Dornish people. We're friends to the Martells, and we're friends to the Fowlers, your house. We have a legal right to come through your land. This matter, us going to where we're going, it could help keep peace. None of us want another war. Right?
Three of you, huh? We don't want another war. If you ask me, friend, I think we're going to get one.
That might be the case. But we're here to try to keep that from happening. And you, as a knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Sir Alfred and myself, knights of the Seven Kingdoms, we all have the chance right now to make the right choice. You can let us go through, friend.
Roll for me your persuasion test.
Briar's
Convince.
bringing, Briar's bringing around the horse.
Convince is the technique.
We're at a 23.
Oh. All right.
Rob's taking the lead on conversations from now
on. This guy's intrigued fence. 7. 23 take away 7 is 14? No, 16.
So it's 4 degrees of success.
4 degrees of success.
That's
Convince
16
his will rank.
composure. Yeah, 16 composure damage.
He's out. Out for the count. Okay, so what was your objective here in the meta, and what did you want him to do?
Sure.
This is convince. So you will your target supports your position and grants you assistance based on your argument.
My objective here is to convince him that House Fowler can act, and he can actually help prevent a war by allowing them passage through their lands so that they can reach House Ironwood. That there's something greater at stake.
All right. So Briar and Alfred hear a whistle back from where they were. And as you turn your horses around, you see Rob with his arms outstretched talking to these 2 Dornish knights. One of them has his sword in hand and is just sheathing it as you turn.
Right then. Guess that's that. Just go to Rob with the horse and throw the reins at him.
He catches the reins. Thank you.
And as you mount back up, as you head out, you just hear a little quietly distant the knight yell as a little parting shot. Don't let these sand dogs eat you.
Bloody hell, Rob. Where did you learn to speak like that?
Tavern, growing up in Fox Hollow.
Just a raucous laugh just comes from Briar.
Maybe I should have gone to the tavern when you asked me all those times.
I tried to get you to come with me.
Well, you know me.
I'm dealing with babes.
So, Briar, you've been to a few taverns. Can you talk as well as that?
Oh, no. That was never my business. Never. Never needed to be my business, to be perfectly honest.
Well, it might need to be your business now.
Why? Who's got him?
We are following Lady Martia's instructions and not to kill anyone on our way here, and I would like to keep that.
Says the one who said they had no honor?
They don't.
The sun will make you into something. Gods, I hope the sun will make you into something. Just...
Alfred will give a smirk to Rob, as in, this is our game now. This is going to make the entertaining kind of, like we've done in the past, like maybe in the tavern or, like someone in Fox Hollow, we just kept poking and poking. We're kind of like, yeah, this will help the journey.
By the time you reach the river, as you give the Skyreach a wide berth, you do see it in the distance, and it's nestled up in the actual mountain itself, carved into the stone of the edge of the Prince's Pass. It looks over and probably has a view for leagues. The actual bottom of the southern end of the Prince's Pass. But now you're on the cusp of dawn proper, and as you look out south, as you travel along eastward, you can start to see these actual like proper undulating dunes of sand. But it's evening, late evening by the time that you reach the river, and there are a couple of barges. There's a larger one, as this is quite a navigable river. It's more of a what we might typically think of a barge now. It's like, it's probably home for a couple of people, and it's quite enclosed and nice pot of painted wood and stuff. Some mummers might actually live there, travel, put on performances from that. And there are also a couple of just those little punting barges that someone would maybe steer in the shallows and push people along, or get horses or mules to carry them along from the bank. But they're all tied up and either abandoned, or the actual barge house is quiet. And so you set up camp for the evening, just the three of you, as there's no real proper settlement around just here. Maybe a little hut or two for the fisher folk. But then as you're sat around the campfire, a man, tatty in almost rags, but a kind of stained, torn red robe, comes up to you. Almost as a beggar, almost, and asks, "Friends, spare a night, one more amongst your fire? The night is dark and full of terrors."
He'll. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Rob shoots a very wary glance between Briar and Alfred.
What's your name there, stranger?
My name? And he looks pretty shifty at that point.
Your name?
Kizano.
From?
Beyond the narrow sea.
From where?
Volantis.
Gonna try and see if he's lying.
Okay. So roll awareness for me. With that.
Empathy?
Specialty dice.
All right. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. 23.
Oof.
He is definitely being careful about what he says. He is being shifty. He just gives that vibe off anyway.
Has he been lying?
You would guess, as he's being shifty, he's being careful about what he says. You have doubts. You certainly have doubts that he's from where he says he is, or maybe even that is his name or not.
Tell you what, stranger from Volantis. If we let you stay by the fire, night passes, night falls, we go to sleep. What happens when we wake up?
Well, then it will no longer be night, and I can carry on my journey.
And where does that journey take you? He's going to, at this point, probably take like a bit of the rations and eat it in front of him.
He's approached the fire a bit closer now. He's like,
"Oh, no. Might make me nervous."
Some food, friend.
Where's your journey taking you?
North.
Where?
Anywhere but here.
He'll tear off a bit of the bread and give it to him.
And the guy takes chunks out of it and buries his mouth in it.
Apologies, my master at arms. Should I have given him of my rations?
It's your rations, Briar. You can give them to whoever you want.
By the gods, is that respect I hear? Be still my heart.
Briar, you will have respect when you give respect back.
And
Please.
You will have my respect when it is earned. He does not look. He looks to the stranger at this point.
Briar, leave the fire and scout.
pains of servitude. Volantis, you say?
Briar, I will
get...
not ask you again.
There's going to be a very, very, not even heated, but the look that he gives you is one of absence, as if he's 1,000 miles away. But he will nod, and he'll walk around, offering his seat to Cesano, I believe. Offering his seat.
And the stranger warms himself by the fire for a while.
My apologies. Good help is very hard to find.
Very.
Please, tell us, what has you so scared in Dawn that you are heading north?
Please, you have already been so generous, I would rather not.
You can think of it as repayment for us sharing your fire. We would wish to know.
This is already such a god's-forsaken place. Who would create something so cold at night and yet so hot in the day? Could I give you something else?
What?
A vision, perhaps. Telling.
Are you a soothsayer? Are you?
Of sorts.
He'll look to Rob and...
You don't look like the Dornishman.
No, we're not Dornish.
What brings you south?
Duty. Very well. You can repay us with a vision.
He comes round towards you. Quite close. And with his head next to yours, he looks at you for a second and then points at the fire. And points into the fire. And says, Look. Look into the fire.
Alfred. Rob finally interjects. He's been watching quietly this entire time.
Please.
Nothing good comes from messing.
Please, friend.
It's okay, Rob. And I look into the fire.
Look into the fire. And you see two scorpions fighting on a gatehouse, a barbican maybe, across a barren land. And somehow that morphs into some dark, carapaced knights battling across desert sands that are then seem to shift in some kind of sandstorm as they reveal bits of this sandstone castle that seems to rise up from the ground. And then as these men are fighting, you are wading through the sand trying to get towards them, trying to get through this into this castle. You look above you and fire rains down from the sky. bolts of fire crash, smash into the earth, turn sand into glass, into crystal, as you try and make your way towards these two knights before the castle itself crumbles around and away you, and it melts away, and you're back at this campfire.
He'll look at and go, who? What?
No. As he's like staring at you, he trips over his own tatty robes. No. And then he like gets up, and actually he runs for it. He leaves you guys.
Fyre at that point will return. Yeah, he'll look to Rob. Did you say something to him?
No. Should I let him go?
Yeah.
Alfred?
Let him go. Tomorrow we ride, and we ride hard. We're running out of time.
Might I suggest chartering a barge?
Isn't riding quicker? I learned that from my jaunt around. I think riding's quicker.
Is riding quicker, or is it boat?
I guess it depends.
I guess it depends what you can take. In the meta, gang, it won't matter.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
The checks we made earlier are what matters, and so we're proceeding based on that.
I mean, we could save ourselves a few coins.
I like we ride hard, and they're like, I think that's the credits. I think that's the credits shot. That is where we will finish tonight's session, folks. Thank you so much for what for me was quite a pleasant session.
Oh my god!
Of just like low-key juicy
amazing.
fruits. Big props to Susie in chat, who as soon as I introduced that guy knew somehow exactly who he was.
I think I know who he is as well. I think I remember him. I really do. I'm not going to say just for.
Can we say? Can we?
Can if you like? Yeah, for sure.
The Red Priest from earlier.
I think it's the prologue guy, right?
It's definitely the prologue guy, isn't it? Yeah.
From last season.
Yeah. All the way back.
So literally 2 nights ago, this just popped into my head, and I was like,
such a good idea.
Yeah.
What's he doing now?
Yeah.
Running.
That's what
he's doing.
Getting out of Dodge, mate. That's what he's doing.
Getting out of Dodge. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
What a juicy fruit. Amazing. Thank you so much, folks. That was a lovely session. I really enjoyed that. Let's go around quickly then and let people know where we can find each other on the internet. Let's start with you, Don. And we have Rob's beautiful artwork this week as well.
I know. I love it. Thank you, Susie, for that artwork. I'm a big fan of it. It came out perfect. It's like I can't remember if I said this on stream earlier or not, but it's basically like a mix of Jake Gyllenhaal and Tannis Half-Elven. I love it.
It's so cool.
I had so much fun. It was great because like last session playing Rob for the first time, I hadn't had time to think about like the backstory that we didn't know. Like the only thing I knew was what we had discussed and what had actually happened in game.
Yeah.
And then over the past like week or so, I was hanging out with people and we were kind of talking about, what his past might have been. And I feel like I fleshed that out a little bit.
That's so cool.
And instead of it just being like him showing up, we actually like all got to play together. We mix and match scenes throughout the entire episode. We kept bouncing back and forth, which was fun. So yeah, I had a great time.
It was a different rhythm, but it was really cool.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm on Twitter. You can follow me there. I do stuff. I write stuff. I play in other streams. I am tomorrow on Encounter Roleplay at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am narrating the GM for an original horror game. It's like inspired by small town horror, Stephen King. It's called The Haunting of Seawall Orphanage, and we're about to have our 3rd session. It's really, really fun. It's a great group.
Fun.
I've been really enjoying it, and the mechanics, I won't spoil too much, but like the mechanics are built so that like by the end of the session has to end sort of on a clock, and the session ends when time runs out, and the first person who fails their roll, a major like cliffhanger consequence happens to them, and that's how the session has to end. So it always like ramps up throughout the session.
I love that so much. So much.
It's like hot potato when we hit that point in the session. It's like, I don't want to be the one to fail.
It's so clever.
Last week, people were being able to squeeze out their rolls just barely, so it kept like every single potential bad thing that could happen kept getting worse and worse and worse until it was pretty bad. But yeah, so I'm doing that tomorrow. I talked about Rise of the Veiled Alliance on Tuesdays. I've got a bunch of stuff going on. Just follow me on Twitter, and I can't wait to be back and get to. I like our bro trip. I really, really like the three of us riding through the mountains into Dorne. It feels like a very Game of Thrones type storyline that we haven't gotten to do before. Like three kind of random dudes from different backgrounds all going off together on a haphazard and foolhardy adventure. And I can't wait for more.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure as always. Charlie, bring you back in. How's it going, boo?
It was good. Trying to figure out how much trouble Marzia is in exactly. It's hard to tell. It's too soon to tell.
These plays were strong, man. These plays were strong. It's bold strategy, Cotton.
Makar's on as well. I mean, Makar would have been on his way either way. This time he's just going to run into me here. So,
well, maybe I should let folks know now that Greg will be back to cameo. So I'm all about that. I cannot freaking wait. So we are going to play all of that through next week. I think
I think it's next week.
We talked.
Right?
Yeah, perfect. So basically, it's a 3-hour-long intrigue, right?
Gosh. I have a couple of plans that may or may not help things, depending on the mood of His Grace when he arrives. Still don't know how to speak Valyrian, but my persuasion has gone up since then, so we'll see.
Cool.
Didn't get shanked by Pike today. That was good.
That's good.
Got to punch someone, which I never thought Marzia would do. That was fun. Didn't work out well for Marzia, but you know.
Sure.
And the three boys are off, and I leave them alone for 5 minutes, and they nearly pick a fight with the first Dornishman they meet. So
they're all like...
I would like to very politely point out that was not Briar that time.
I did message Dawn, and I was like, I'm very proud you can kill a Martell. As a treat.
The most restraint I've ever shown.
I love it.
Yeah, no, this was great. I can't wait to see what is going on at Ironwood. I feel like for Marzia, that's a big question mark. For me, it is find out what the Martells are doing. We need to have a conversation, Sam, because and find out what the fuck Prince Makar's doing. Because if he was going to Ironwood, he'd go down the Boneway. So he's not going to Ironwood. So where is he going? Is it here? Is it just here? Or is it somewhere else? Is it Highgarden? Is it Fox Hollow? Because I'm right here. You don't need to go all the way there. We'll see. We'll find out. This is my terrified energy. I hope you enjoy it. I was so tense for like the first part of the session that my leg actually went dead, but I didn't notice until I stood up, and so I kind of was like all the way downstairs. Pins and needles. But yes, thank you so much everyone who is here today. Thank you so much everyone who's on the VOD. If you enjoyed this, thumbs up on the YouTubes because it helps the algorithm. And come and check out our sister campaign on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern on Encounter Roleplay. That's the Crown Lands, where you can see Sam, Susie, Nuno, Amelia Tyler, and the wonderful Shauna in action. We do Juicy Fruits chats on Encounter Roleplay Discord, but the Juicy Fruit chats are going to be ripe for the picking on Black Cat's Discord after this, because we have a lot to talk about.
We do. There's a lot of tinfoil and a lot of Juicy Fruits this week, I think. It's going to be good. Well, I linked in chat. Head over to Encounter Roleplay, where Charlie does all sorts of her awesome other shows. We got our own Modifius' Star Trek Adventures tomorrow, where the other cast member, other friend of the channel, is running that. She is running the second half of the adventure that I wrote, my first proper published adventure, Darkness, which I freaking love, because I wrote it. So I was low-key watching it last week, and I was having a very, very fun time seeing them pick apart that adventure, and I'm really, really, really keen to see how they figure it out this week. Otherwise, Mondays we've got Crown Lands, and then all sorts of other stuff during the week, Fall of London as well, and all that juicy.
Tomorrow's such a big day on Encounter Roleplay because it's like the end of the week and we got the double bill. We got Star Trek at 3 and then Seawall at 6, and I get to hang out for both of them while I play in the second one, and it's always a fun time. I look forward to finding out how your adventure ends as well tomorrow.
Nice, cool.
This mysterious Vulcan adventure that's going on.
Okay, cool. All right, Tom. Gallivanting around the Seven Kingdoms again.
I know. I've got the Reach kicked off, the Crownlands ticked off. I've got Dawn ticked off, Tyrosh ticked off. Just need Stormlands, the North, Riverlands,
Vale.
The Vale,
Iron Islands.
Oh, the Iron Islands.
I mean, no one wants to go to
the
Iron Islands. No one wants to go to the Iron Islands. Let's be honest. So but he's getting the travel log up. He's getting the passport stamps. They don't do that anymore, but they used to. So it was really good. I really loved it. I really, really enjoyed this episode. It was great. It was some amazing role playing. I should preface that for Alfred, apart from Oliver, pretty much all Dornish people he's met, they've tried to kill him. So he may not be
fair.
The greatest person to do it, but he's.
Don't worry, Briar will talk to him.
Not all Dornish people are honorless cowards.
It's very funny that you think that he would speak at that tone.
Well, yeah. But it was great. I can't wait to see what happens in so many different areas. So for myself, I am Hotflakes Tom on Twitter. I am also on Greg's channel tomorrow, Tales from the Grim, at 6 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Eastern, for the finale of Rapture, a Bioshock Call of Cthulhu campaign, where I play a very 72-year-old woman who has a lot of plasmids and likes them.
So jelly.
It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. And also on Wednesday, I'm on Encounter Roleplay with Firehander with the lovely Susie, who's there, who DMs that. The Rat Evolution, it was kind of going. I think it's on a bit of a back burner at the moment, but we're surrounded by rats, and we ended mid-combat, because and I'm not looking forward to it because combat is brutal in Zweihander, and I can't roll for shit. I am so bad at rolling in this game, and I'm the combat guy, and I'm rubbish.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I've got that curse going for me, so I'm expecting to die there. But that's it. I can't wait to see everyone next week for some more very, very juicy fruits.
Nice. Thanks so much. And Jason, with some... do you know what? He gets a lot of stick, but I love Briar.
Thank you.
He is a good fun time.
Yeah. Not as many stories as I thought I'd get to today, but had them all prepped just in case.
Hey, we still got a long road to Ironwood. Plenty of time.
We can still get a campfire scene in for sure.
Good. But at Just Jason, please, on Twitter if you want to find out where I am at any one point in time. DM for Grains of Truth on alternating Tuesdays at actually around the same time as this show usually happens, but again on Tuesdays. Other than that, Nerdsmith the Creator, go ahead and follow them at We Are Nerdsmith if you've got the compulsion. Otherwise, I implore you to go ahead and check out those who are absent. Shout outs to Susie and Virginia at Susanna Grace and at Tabletop Horde, respectively. Some of the best people that anybody could ever ask for to have in their life or call this friend. So sad that we could not have him here, but also this campaign is already bonkers enough with 4 people, so maybe it's good that Sam has spaced it out. Also please follow Sam at RPG Webby if you so desire more discussion of more juicy fruits. Outside of that, man, I'm just glad to be along for the ride. I know that Briar is more than a little bit prickly, but there's a reason for it, and hopefully we'll get to at least some of it in the pursuing sessions. Because
fair. Thanks
It'll
so
be
much,
fun.
dude. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
wait. Can't wait to look forward to it. When it comes to me, I am Sam. By day, I'm at Modifius Entertainment, head of RPG development. By night, I am on this here Black Cat's gaming thing, where we are making a 5e modern game called The Spy Game. It's all action, espionage, and intelligence and stuff like that. So if you like 5e, but if you like spies and cool action movies and stuff, then check that out. We have just, because we kickstarted last year, have launched both our late pledges and our pledge manager. So you can head over to check that out if you want to check out the game. The quick start's available for free on DriveThruRPG. If you like the look of that and you want to get in on the little late pledge for the Kickstarter, then do check both of those links out in chat. We'll post them in the YouTube comments as well. So you can follow me around the internet at RPGWebby or at Follow Black Cats for the more official looking stuff, where here our lovely Susie writes all of our tweets and makes lots of coded messages and runs polls about who people's favourite spy is. And it was almost Danger Mouse and we almost cancelled the campaign. But we're all good now. So follow us around the internet and come back every Thursday here for our Game of Thrones game. I was looking around for a channel to raid, but they're all big leagues and with no kind of friends or anything running. So we're going to sign off tonight and leave it there, I think. We normally just chuck over to Encounter Roleplay because they've usually got... It's Deathly Hallows?
It's nearly Death's Curious, which is our Unhallowed Metropolis game. It's a really cool system that no one plays.
I got two of the names, just the wrong
You did.
one.
It's fine. Susie called it something very funny the other day, and that was cool. But they normally run on Thursdays. It's about to be their mid-season finale, but unfortunately one of the players wasn't very well today, so we decided to postpone it to next week so everyone could be there.
Yeah, for sure.
And they could do their thing. But there's deals with the devil going on. The Dampier's lover is betraying everyone. Her father's Dracula, who wants to turn England into New Transylvania. It's a whole thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a Victorian, steampunky, zombies and vampires type game. It's great.
That sounds so cool. Well, let's just then say a final thanks to everyone who joined us to watch the game. Thanks so much for staying with us. Check out the Discord. Give us a subscribe. Give us a follow if you enjoyed tonight as well. That would be really much appreciated too. But for now, folks, try not to roll too many nat ones, because no, I won't. That's your thing, Charlie. Thanks so much, everyone. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.